Ekuna mewe mi dani wabe. Say konege no man. Mi ale kane we rato kanu legese. Say konege no man. Patora ke. Say. Wase kwala ba kera we nyone. Say konege. Mi dani wabe. Say. Ekuna mewe mi dani wabe. Mi ale kane we rato kanu legese. Say. Cllr Tiawan is here to reflect our man on Liberia. Liberia is 174 years old, but remains backward and underdeveloped in absolute terms and also in comparison to other African countries that are in fact much younger. Cllr Saye Gongloe is a Liberian. He was born 1956, August 6, in Liberia. Nima candidate to be specific, there is orientation number 9. The Cllr is married with 3 children. Me don't know. Fellow listener, if you are from Grand Chile Kante, Lofa Kante, Apollo, Magibi, and all other counties within Liberia, this is a poor man lawyer. He's down to earth. Cllr Saye Gongloe. He is here to help us. He loves human beings.
Demo Cllr Tiawan Gongloe, Alamoge blessing you, Bobrobi, and I don't give a bochenge, to Yaro on in you blow, to Yaro in you black so Labiranoe, I'm a Tida get Boquin, the Aquan Boy again Cllr Gongloe, say, what are you blessing to Bobrodi? I'm a God.
Good evening, folks. I'm Alfonso Zia Sort of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Thank you for sharing this 4th of July Day celebration day with us. We want to welcome all of you. Thank you so much for being here. We will get this program on the way very shortly. Let's have this music as a way of welcoming our guest and his top surrogate here this evening, right here on LPR, Liberia Public Radio. What a wonderful way of starting the program here this evening. Some of the staffs are again, they are standing by. They're going to be telling us. We're going to have the profile, the conversation, and our guests will be joining us right on top of the hour. I am a constantly and sort of the Liberia Public Radio. Let's get the ball rolling here. We say happy 4th, happy the 4th right here on LPR. This is our way of welcoming our people and say happy July. Very shortly we will get this program.
Encore la magie. Et puis, il y a des démons.
All right, this is the song that introduces the program right here. I am a consultant for Liberia Public Radio, Lpr-Tv. One of the top surrogate is standing by. He's going to be joining this conversation here before we have our guest here this evening. Stay tuned. This song is from Liberian Côte d'Ivoire. You gotta get up money before you get involved in election. This Councillor Tiawan Gongloe has all of the resources to execute effective election. I have no idea how it looks like. He's here in the USA, maybe the superpower, and this is why he's here. We're going to be having this conversation. I'm a Francois, so get money before you get involved into elections. If you don't have money, leave your own. Okay, it's 7:44 Eastern Standard Time right here in the USA. We want to welcome all our viewers and listeners across the globe. Good evening, Liberia, the rest of the world, and those under the sound of my voice. Welcome to this special edition, Freedom Watch. I will be playing host to one of the presidential hopeful in the 2023 presidential race in Liberia. He will be joining me here, hopefully. But let me just go here to one of his top surrogate is here. Let's get a sense of what we're going to be hearing and how it's going to look like. If you are here for the first time, share this video, share this podcast, and invite someone. It's not about me. It's not about Tiawan, Councillor Tiawan Gongloe, but it's about Liberia for us to make a decisive decisions. Let me bring in Mr. Cllr, is one of the top surrogate of Councillor Tiawan Gongloe. He's joining me here. Let me say SK. I want to make it a little bit lighter, easier for me, for us to have this brief conversation before the guy that you support or you endorse come here. SK, good evening and welcome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate having me on your show.
Okay. So is there a first time appearing LPR?
Yeah.
Okay, good to have you. And we say good to have you and welcome and happy 4th.
Thank you. Wishing you the same.
All right. So where are you joining us from this evening?
Oh, I'm located in Texas, Houston, Texas.
Houston, Texas.
Yeah.
Your guy is here. He left Liberia. He's here, Houston, Texas. I have no idea where he came from, what he's going to do. And so we're going to get a sense here. How this connection with Councillor Gongloe came into place.
Oh, Councillor Gongloe. Councillor Gongloe is not a new person politically in terms of the situation in Liberia. I mean, I've been knowing Councillor Gongloe for a very long time, dating back during the 80s. You know, he's an activist. I mean, he has been in advocating for Liberian people for a long time. So he's not a new name, you know, when it comes to politics in Liberia. I've always respected him because I know over the past 4 years plus, he has been someone that has been true to himself and true to the Liberian people. So we have always hoped that we have someone like his character coming forth to present himself to Liberian people. And it has been a while. We have been talking to this guy for like forever. And
yeah, relative. How long you been talking to him?
Prior to this, we have been talking to him since 2005. Talked to him in 2011.
Tell me a little bit here, SK. What was the convincing aspect for which you putting yourself in the front line to articulate and persuade potential electorate for the councillor to be the next president of the Republic of Liberia?
It's because right now Liberia is in a situation that it's like emergency room. All right, everything in the country right now is not working.
He's the doctor, the surgeon.
Politically, governance-wise, as a human rights advocate, and he's just not an activist. So he's also have worked in the public sector. Usually you find people that where they're activists and here and there they just talk, and then they haven't gotten chance to prove themselves.
I have heard this narrative here, not to interrupt. I have heard this now. Do you recognize this building behind me?
Yes.
Is that where you guys want to go?
Of course. That is where the Liberian people needs to take someone that is very honest, very, very determined, respect the rules of law, someone that can deliver in terms of just doing the right thing. There's too much corruption in Liberia. I was in Liberia just 3 weeks ago. Everything is not working over there. And the main thing...
I have no idea whether there's a doctor, whether there's a human being, someone on planet Earth who has a cure for corruption.
Yeah, there's you no doubt. I agree with you. But you have to look at someone's records. And that's why we haven't done for a long time in Liberia. Psychologists usually say the best prediction of future endeavors is to look at someone past. And we have seen Cllr Gongloe from being our student leaders at the University of Liberia, and then working as a lawyer, working as executive assistant to Dr. Amos Sawyer, putting his life on the line, advocating for the rule of law during the regime of Charles Cllr, of which he was apprehended, tortured. So, I mean, yet instead, he has still been the man that he is. People say, oh, you know what? He just saying that because he hasn't been to government.
Okay, just hold on 1 second. This conversation is getting to be more interesting. LPR senior contributor is based in Minnesota. Saye Gongloe is here and joining us here. And I think he is, I don't know what his language, I know him to be a very bold, honest guy, but I'm not sure what are those sort of unusual politics with factor in. He's going to make his disclosure. Let me go to the Twin Cities and bring in Mr. Saye Gongloe. Is a senior contributor of the Liberia Public Radio. He does support this guy here. I'm not sure what's going to be his tone here this evening. Our guest is here. We have 10 minutes more to bring in our guest here. Let me jump into Minnesota here. Saye, I see you smiling. This seems to be a good day for you.
Well, not just for me. First of all, how are you doing, my brother, Mr. So? And hey, Sir too, how are you doing?
How you doing, brother?
I think it's a good day, not just for me. It's a good day for Liberians. I think we ought to be introducing political aspirants to our people, and the way to do that is to bring them on platforms that are reputable and that will be able to shoot the shot straight and ask the questions that our people need answers to in order to make informed decisions. So yes, I do support Tiawan Gongloe, but I'm here not as part of Team Gongloe. I'm here as a contributor to this network, and I'm going to ask the hard questions that Liberians need to know in order to be able to assess whether Gongloe is the right man for the president.
Political correctness questions or questions in the interest of the, Councillor Gongloe, I met in Agile Convention here. My skepticism comes into play when someone decides to put on this political government. They are like, oh my goodness, politicians, they're quick to somersault, they're quick to be initiated. I don't know. I am not drawing the conclusion. All these questions, you guys ask out of this question to the councillor?
Well, you're talking about asking those questions when he comes.
Now he's more political guy now. Would there be an entire 360-degree pivoting twist when the councillor goes in this building behind me?
Well, that's it. You see, so that's what I was saying. When in the intro, I said we owe it to everybody, ourselves and the Liberian people, to make sure that we put people through the ringer, so we can at least see signs of whether they are going to be consistent when they enter the executive mansion, or whether they're going to change. In politics, somebody might try as hard as they might, but with a very good media, with a very good press crew, I think people can press and ask questions that will be able to get answers that will let people know and get deeper into the psychic of those individuals to know whether they will be consistent or whether they're just playing games. Right now, I can't say for sure who the mayor Tiawan Gongloe is going to be when he enters the executive mansion. And I think that's the reason we, including you, Mr. So, ought to be asking those very critical questions. And when he comes on here, I'm going to ask him questions not as a supporter. I'm going to be asking him questions that the Liberian people ought to know.
Do you share this question with him? The question you plan to ask him? Have you shared?
No, because I don't think that would be fair to the Liberian people. I think.
Okay, let me go to time is running out here. It's 7:53. Our guest is standing by. Want to be bringing in here very shortly. So, SK, tell me, you seem to get an ally here, even though he's a contributor here. But hey, you see, it's the guy. He's giving some real good smiles here. Go ahead.
No, I think he said it all. I think the most important thing is for us to create this platform all over the country and ask the hardest questions to all those that are running for president, and let them come out here and tell us what they plan for the country. I, for one, is supporting Councillor Gongloe because, like I said, he has been consistent over the past 44 years, both in private sector and in public sector. So I am hoping that as we continue this engagement, and for the record, these interviews are public documents. So tomorrow we can come back and say, oh, well, he said this, he said that. Why is he changing now? You know?
Why is it he's changing now? 7:54 right here in the East Coast in the United States. The politics of Liberia has been transported thousands of miles away, seeking or trying to solidify their political grip. I have no idea why the councillor is here and what you guys are doing. But we will get to know here very shortly. I'm going to be bringing in the councillor. Is 11:54 in Liberia, and then it's 6:54 a.m. in Bangkok. This is the Liberia Popular Radio. Before I bring in the councillor, you guys know this? Is this thing similar to what the councillor has been traveling with?
No. We don't know that. Well, very few people.
Who got the better one?
It's the better one. It's the broom. It's the broom.
It's the better one.
Yeah, the
very for unity.
The one that he has to be bending down my own, I can stay and do the sweeping. Okay, gentlemen, I want to thank you so much.
He's not an elitist, so we don't want to use the one that the elites use.
Exactly.
That what people usually use.
Okay, I want you guys to stay. I'm going to get you in the backstage. I want to bring you in later on. Hopefully, Amos George is going to be bringing out. But we have our own tradition here. So let's welcome non-human rights activist turned politician. If a soccer legend can turn politician, what a human rights All right. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Let's get the ball rolling. Time is fast spent. Gentlemen, thank you so much. We do it here differently on LPR. These are very consequential decisions, and we want the candidate, the potential candidate aspirants to face the camera. We don't want to have no side of attraction. At some point in time, I'm going to be bringing in then to get their analysis right here. This is Liberia Public Radio. It's 7:56 Eastern Standard Time. Stay tuned. Good evening to Liberia, good evening USA, to all our viewers and listeners across the globe. I have the honor and pleasure to welcome one of the 2023 presidential hopeful. He's currently in the USA. There was a rendezvous in place in Liberia to sit with him, but schedule could not permit. It's better late than never. He's here. I want to say a big thank you to the campaign or the support star here for helping to facilitate to make this conversation here to happen here. Let me say this, all questions that we will be asking here, they were drawn out by me and only me. They were not shared with any of our contributors, nor our guests here. So he has the right to plead the fifth if need be. Let me join our special guest here, Councillor Tiawan Saye Gongloe is a presidential hopeful, former Solicitor General. His resume is huge. I'm not going to waste time here to do that. Let's just bring in our guest here this evening. Councillor Tiawan S. Gongloe is our guest here. Councillor, good evening.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay.
Okay, so I don't know, there's some sort of light there that is kind of a little bit blurred. Really? Yeah, something, somebody that they can make a little bit adjustment. Okay, I think, all right. Let's see here. Just bear with us.
Missing?
Yeah. So let me just get it. I will be watching it. As soon as you get that, I will see it vividly cleared. And at some point in time, like we said, we don't want to cry. Okay, let's see here. Let's see it. Is there somebody here to make some sort of little bit adjustment?
I'm
Okay, all right. Ooh, the candidacy of Gongloe 2023.
Oh, it's not clear.
Yeah, something they need to make some adjustment there for which I don't know what it is. So okay, I think much better. Yeah, much better. Okay, Councillor, good evening and welcome to the United States. How are you, sir?
I'm fine.
Okay, good. It's better late than never. We should have met in Liberia. Time was so squeezed out, we didn't have the chance to be, but I want to thank you so much for honoring our invitation to be here with us here on Liberia Public Radio to have this conversation. Our network is such a network. It's not like an entertainment, too much of drama going on. They are serious things. And so when we having important people that try to occupy high profile, we want to keep the camera, the focus. Contributor want to come in later on, but I want to have some sort of exclusive with you so that we'll keep focus. Okay, it would be insane to ask you to introduce yourself, but every day there are new faces, new follower on this network. And so people been hearing the name. It's good to hear it from the house's mouth. Councillor Tiawan Saye Gongloe. It's so difficult to introduce you. So I would just let you to run it through and we can get a ball rolling.
Well, I'm a Liberian citizen. I'm from Lpr-Tv, Nimba County, so about 200 miles away from Monrovia, deep in the forest of Yawé-Mesnon Statutory District. I obtained a degree in economics in 1981. I became a lawyer in 1988 after graduating from the Louis Graham School of Law. I've been an advocate for good governance, human rights, and the rule of law for more than 44 years of my life. I worked in government also as executive assistant to the interim president of Liberia. I've been Solicitor General, I've been Minister of Labor. In all of these positions, I've been a transformative leader. And that's what I like. I don't just like position. I go to a position based on what I want to do for the Liberian people in that position. I've had international experience too. I was election observer in South Africa, as United Nations observer in 1994. That was the best time of my life because that was the election that brought Mandela to power. And it was just so good to be part of that history-making process. That was in 1994. In 2005, I was the electoral consultant for Cllr Center in Ethiopia. That took me all over Ethiopia. In 2008, I was an election observer for Cllr Center in Ghana. I've also won human rights awards. The Lpr-Tv Institute, the biggest Black labor movement in the United States, gave me the highest award called Bayer Rustin Freedom Award. Also, human rights, that's in 2003. The same 2003, Human Rights Watch, the biggest human rights organization based in the United States, also honored me in 2000. I was one of the 3 human rights defenders in 2003. Many media institutions in Liberia have named me Lawyer of the Year, Mayor of the Year, Human Rights Advocate of the Year, different times. But all of my life, I tried to emphasize doing things for humanity. That's why most of my practice of law has been geared towards helping the poor and getting people facing difficult situations with the law, such as journalists, political activists, and others out of trouble, getting them from jail and all of that. I think the most recent one was the economic freedom fighter situation last year, when its CEO, when its chief executive officer, Emmanuel Gonkwe, was jailed. And I do these things to calm down tension all of the time, because when key persons in the society, especially activists, are detained, it tends to create problem, and it can be it can cause some people trying to get out and demonstrate, protest or whatever, and I like to calm the situation. So I call myself a one-man peacekeeper to help maintain the peace in Liberia. You know, that's me. That's it. I was a research fellow at Harvard in 2004, a W.E.B. Du Bois fellow, and then later on a fellow at the Carr Center for Human Rights Policy at the Kennedy School of Government.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I told you, I couldn't have gone through all of that.
Well, let me also say I'm a village boy. I know how to set trap. I know how to brush farm. I joined a coup in Glaze up here. We used to make farm. I know how to set bird trap and things like that. You know bird trap? Maybe many of you don't know. You go in it. Every animal, birds like to take baths. So around 3 o'clock, you go there and set your trap. And I used to catch up to 30 birds sometimes.
Oh.
You know, and yeah, I did everything in the interior, man. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I can cut palm nut off. Palm nut. The only thing I don't know how to fix palm wine, but I can cut palm nut. I can do a lot of other things in the interior. Okay. Bamboo worm, all of that. You know bamboo worm?
I know it.
I know how to harvest it. You know it?
All right. Okay, Councilor.
So I'm a village boy as well.
Thank you so much for that elaborate and extensive. And that's what I just threw the ball right into your court. So thank you so much for making time for us here. And we're going to be discussing a wide range of issues. You recognize this building behind me?
The executive mansion.
Oh, that's the 8th floor you want to go to, right?
No,
if you get the president.
It's the 4th floor.
4th floor, or maybe you want to go over that floor.
That's where the office is located.
That's where you want to go.
That's the office of the president.
That's the office of the president. Okay. New is about current event, and this is how we want to start the talking point here. What is happening right now is the news. I know you are thousands of miles away, but there is just a consequential elections just ended in Lofa, and a lot of talking points. You are frowned on the current election commissions or the entire body. Are you monitoring what is unfolding back home? What are your supporters or what are your confident telling you? Have you taken a decision relative to the results being announced by NEC? What's your position?
Well, before I get to that, I just want to express sympathy to the family of one young man, Johnson, who I understand was shot and killed by an EPS officer in Monrovia. And the police is investigating, so I call upon the police to do an extensive investigation, and at least on this one, to the extent that it involves an officer of government, police to do everything, not to shield that person or persons who were suspected of killing the young man. We have to stop this. You know, the government's first role is to protect the lives of its citizens. This thing about people being killed, especially like this one by an EPS officer, is just unsettling. It's terrible. It's bad. Having said that, And let me, say that I like what they do in the United States here. Somebody killed some people today on July 4th. The president has spoken about it. The officials of government in Illinois have spoken about it. Police, senior officers have spoken about it. It shows their concern for human life. I believe that when something like this happens in Liberia, the key officials of government should express concern. They should show that they are concerned. Up to the president, they should say, oh, how terrible it is, condemn it and call for investigation, give briefings to the family every day. I'm involved with the Princess Copper issue. That's what I used to tell the police. I say, people are demonstrating the street because you are not giving daily briefings to the public on what the police is doing. People have a right to know. That's what they call accountability to the people on every issue, especially when it involves protection. Okay, having said that, on the local election, the people who have standing to actually question the election in the first place are those who participated in it. My political party, the Liberian People's Party, did not participate in it. We have read media accounts of variation in numbers and all of that. And we are concerned as a party that wants to participate in the upcoming 2023 election. But in terms of complaining, if there's any issue with the electoral process, by law, it is those who have standing that will raise the issue. So that'd be, any of the
Councillor, you are from on this commission, and you will be participating if certified by NEC. So my question is, based on what you know so far, and someone who is seeking for the higher office of the land, what is your position with respect to the results announced by NEC?
No, there should be no compromise in terms of the authenticity of the results. When people vote, the results should reflect their true intentions. But I don't know the details. I've been reading from Daily Observer and things like that. I'm far away from Monrovia. And but those who will know the details are those who had their poll watchers out there, the participants in the electoral process. I haven't heard any of them complain yet. Maybe they have, but I'm saying I've not heard it from where I am. And
okay.
So to them because they know the details, you see.
But if need be, you will speak out anytime when it becomes necessary.
If we know the details, if we know what the complaints are from those who participated in it about flaws, the details of the flaws, because media reports are not sufficient to draw legal conclusions necessarily. They can form a basis for further investigation. Yeah.
All right. I want to play this little shot, and we will get right to the point. I will show what I have, and let me see what you want to display what you have. Let's roll this tape here, courtesy of some of our sister network in Liberia.
Television coming live to you from the Honorable House of Representatives, where the presidential aspirant, Councillor Tiawan Gongloe, is on the grounds of the Capitol building, sweeping corruption, as he said, sweeping corruption from the legislature. So there we go, and he's there. Keep watching us for the very best views, comment are very key environment to us onto the Liberia television. Jay Cassius is my name. Keep watching us as.
This is not strange here. Is that you right there?
That's me, yo.
Okay. You have yours, and I have mine here as well. Let me get this here so you will see it here. This is my own. I'm not sure what is it equivalent to what you have? Councilor?
This is mine.
Oh, wait a minute. You travel with it from Liberia here?
I travel with a broom to show it to Liberians living in America here.
What is the reason for that?
Oh, there are about 10% of the Liberian population lives in America here, and they are very influential back home. They have seen me on video doing this, so I came to show to them that this is the broom that we use symbolically to sweep corruption from the governance of Liberia, so that governing Liberia would be without stealing. Government is a place to serve and not to steal. We have to stop that. And I tell my Christian and Muslim friends that we want the government of Liberia to obey commandment number 8 of the 10 commandments, thou shalt not steal. If we do that, Liberia will make tremendous progress, peace will be sustained, and there will be prosperity.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure. You've been here for a little while now. What are you still doing here?
I'm talking to Liberian people. Last night I was in East Orange, New Jersey. The night before I was in Bethesda, Maryland. I'm talking to Liberians everywhere. I see 2 Liberians, I speak to them. Beyond that, I'm holding teleconferences. I'm having Zoom meetings. I want to meet as many Liberians as possible. I put my foot in this race. I must do everything possible to convince Liberians that I am the best alternative.
Including raising money.
Of course. I'm not ashamed to say I've been a poor man my lifetime. I don't have money. But I'm encouraged by Barack Obama. He did not have money to go all over the 50 states of the United States, but he won the election. And it was his first time in the electoral process. So I'm talking to Liberians to give me the $1, $2 to help me, because everyone says, yeah, Councillor Gongloe could be a good candidate, but he's a poor man. He doesn't have money, so he's not going to go anywhere. Yes, I agree. I'm an underdog, but the Liberian people can make me the front dog.
You're underdog. Every politician likes to be underdog. We have been told, besides having conversation with Liberians here, you are also having conversation with high-profile government official. How true is that information?
Well, you know, I met at the State Department. I've met some municipal officers. I mean, I met the city mayor of Washington, D.C. I met 2 mayors in Minnesota, in the state of Minnesota. I met with the North Dakota Trade Commission. When I have opportunity to meet American officials, I do accept those opportunities and take advantage of them to talk to them. Because if I'm president of Liberia tomorrow, this is the first country that we deal with in terms of assistance and everything. And our government is partnering after the United States government. So sometimes even holding conversations with them, just understanding what to do in the various offices tend to deepen my understanding of democratic governance.
What are you projecting? You seem to be rewriting history in the sense, unlike some of our high-profile politicians, they come here, they go to basement, just have party. When you ask them who to talk to, they can't tell you. It becomes like a secret when they should be opened to not just only the media that they like or the Liberian people, they see that they conceal those information. What is the feedback are you hearing from the consulate? What are you projecting specifically when it comes to Liberia, since you have interest in the 2023 presidential run? Yeah, sure.
I can say this. I don't have the freedom to disclose all confidential conversations with officials of government, but one thing is key. I have told people at the relevant institutions I've met that the transparency of our electoral process in Liberia in 2023 is where we want the greatest assistance. And to the extent that they can bring in more international observers, support more international observers, and let the government of Liberia know clearly that the United States government is very interested in an open, fair, and transparent electoral process, so that the election results truly reflect the intentions of the voters is for us the most important assistance that the United States government can give, and being able to say that at every level.
Okay, I've been following your activities, and all that I've been hearing, it seems accountability. That seems to be the hallmark. That seems to be the bearer of this whole point of your campaign. To what extent that if elected as president of the Republic of Liberia, people will be held accountable? And do you think there are folks now that needs to be held accountable?
You know, the best leadership is leadership by example. First, the president himself must be accountable to the people. And then he can hold others accountable. If a president is not accountable, it's going to be difficult for him to hold other people accountable. The question is, yes, it is possible.
Who's the president? We have so many presidents. Who's the president? I just don't like to leave my audience in the air. The president must be held accountable.
But we have one president right now governing us.
Okay.
Yes. If he himself, in the first year of his being in power, he built 47 condominiums opposite the Baptist Seminary, and people have asked questions. He has not been able to explain where he got the money from. People are just assuming, oh, maybe he had money before. And especially when he has said just before becoming president that he was not a rich man, he was poor, he couldn't pay child support because of, low income and all of that. Out of a sudden, he comes and then he is displaying wealth. The people have a right to know under the Constitution of Liberia. Article 15, the people have a right to know about their government and its functionaries. And the number one functionary of government is the president of Liberia. We don't know his salary. We don't know his benefits. We don't know anything about him. And that's the beginning of accountability. So when I become president, I will declare my assets. I will have my salary and benefits on the internet, and I will do so for all ministers and officials of government, even down to the civil servants. Their salaries will be known to the Liberian people, the taxpayers, the people who employ them, who pay their salaries. We have to do that. And we'll do that to check on whether or not they are spending within the confines of their salaries and benefits. We'll institute what I call quarterly lifestyle audit. Not institutional audit. Institutional audit will be of the ministries and agencies will be done at a regular time provided by law. But the lifestyle of the president and everybody who serves in government will be monitored, will be audited every 3 months, so that if the president or any minister spends beyond their income and benefits, their salaries and benefits, they will be held accountable. And my office will be the first that the auditors will come to, and the report from the audit from my office will be published. Seems to happen to the ministers. And when I find I have said if I spend beyond my salary and benefits and my asset declaration and I can't explain, I will resign. But I will not do such a disgraceful thing, because I want to lead the country in a different direction. I want to transform the process of governance in Liberia so that we can have sustained peace and prosperity in our country forever. For Liberia to be truly a sweet land of liberty by God's command. So any minister who, for example, bills huge billion, $200,000-$300,000 in the first 2-3 months of getting in government, I can't explain where he or she got the money from, will be immediately dismissed by me, turned over to the Liberian Anti-Corruption Commission, and will strengthen the capacity of the Anti-Corruption Commission with all that it needs, to investigate and prosecute. When you have 2, 3, 4 ministers in jail, the assets seized and turned over to the state, and then they are spending 5 to 10 years in jail. Other would-be criminals in government, thieves in government, will be careful. They will advise themselves not to steal. And then those who want to steal will be afraid of coming to government. Then government will become a place of true service to the people and not a place for stealing. Isn't that a shameful thing that our government is being called by a congressman a kleptocracy? government by stealing. All of us are ashamed by that. More than that, 2.5 years ago, 9 embassies in Monrovia issued an open letter. You, a media person, I'm sure you're familiar with that. Issue an open letter to the government of Liberia, saying to the government, you took our money from central bank without our consent, put it back. When you take somebody's money without his or her consent, that's theft. So it means that those in government are not only stealing from us, they are also stealing from our partners. That is shameful. That's the first time I've heard about it. It's something that in the history of our country. And for even embassies, diplomatic missions to come out openly and accuse a sitting sovereign government of theft of property, that's shameful. It will go down in history, and that's bad history.
Okay, that's quite interesting. Talking about stealing, and this is not your first time you have deployed this warrior. And let me just ask you, because I do not have something as evident on hand. Neither I'm not suggesting it's not having anything. Are there stealing going on? And who are those doing the stealing?
Well, you know, in law, there's something called judicial notice. When something is so clear, the evidence speaks for itself. If just yesterday, you inform me that you didn't have any money, and I see you wearing a new suit today, I should have concern. Then you should explain to me where you got a new suit from today. You didn't have any money yesterday, and you say you are not working. So I'm saying people who yesterday said they didn't have money, just in less than 5 months in government, were displaying huge wealth. You know, in the midst of money disappearing, $16 billion, question about spending $25 million, a mopping operation, different things were happening at the same time that people who occupy positions of trust were displaying such a huge amount of wealth, unexplainable wealth. I mean, their lifestyle just is clear that without explaining where they're getting money from, it is our money. We don't need any further explanation.
Are you there? You
Yes,
can.
I'm here.
Center A, and then I can go back to you.
Okay.
Okay, folks, just bear with us. It sounds all right.
Everybody in Monrovia knows, from Painesville to Waterside knows that the people in government are taking their money, and they are taking their money, living big style, while the people are living abject poverty. Poverty is increasing by the day. You live in America here. The number of people that used to beg you last year has increased this year. And the people 5 years ago, I guess they used to beg you and say, please send me a bundle of zinc. Today, they are begging for money to buy half bag of rice. They are at the level of trying to survive simply because of bad governance.
By government. So your creditors will be asking you, the broom that you are carrying now, we saw similar of that broom to the guy who you serve as a special assistant, Dr. Amos Claudius Sawyer. Similarly, it was the same broom in the 80s when he was seeking for the position of the city mayor position in the city of Monrovia. You serve as a special assistant to him. His administration embraced corruption, trading it for peace, yet you did not resign. Why?
Okay, so good question. Dr. Sawyer's government was a unique government, unprecedented, no roadmap to follow. Tom Kamara asked him, his own communication director, what are you doing about corruption? And he said, we're trading corruption for peace. Yeah, he was not able to explain that. Nobody asked him that question before he passed. But what I know serving his government is that I know that the Minister of Education was dismissed for corruption. As soon as they dismissed him, he went and joined one Warren faction. Somebody from the the Liberia Repatriation Commission was dismissed, and then he went and joined another warring faction. By the time they were, people in government, so when he saw that, he said, if I keep dismissing people for corruption and they go to the warring faction, it makes my ability to bring peace very difficult, because they are now joining the different warring faction, and they are making it difficult for those warring faction. And those people were joining the warring faction where, because they had problem with Dr. Saye now being vengeful, making it very difficult for those warring factions that they were joining to cooperate with the peace process. And it is within that context that he said, well, we trade corruption for peace. Because every time you dismiss somebody, that person becomes a member of the warring faction.
Is that enough for the reason why you didn't resign, you as a councillor?
Look, what the level of corruption they're talking about, the only money that government was actually relying on was maritime. The base was small, all right?
Mm-hmm.
But I had to weigh the question of bringing peace to Liberia. I was involved as his executive assistant, writing his speeches, and going with him on every trip. I was part of the inner circle trying to plan the peace process and all of that. And so I didn't just, for example, in President Salif's government, I said more than 4 years before I resigned, you have to be reasonable to compare the degree, and of the wrong that you are addressing, to see whether you can stay in there and fix it, or, and the larger picture. We were in peacetime under President Salif. During Dr. Saye time, we were in the middle of war. We only had Monrovia, I think, up to Fender, not Fender, sir, Mount Barkley. Mount Barkley was what we used to call Kuwait. We're in a very critical situation. And I was there helping the man, and he was trying to get rid of people who are corrupt. And by the time he does it, they resign. And so I couldn't disagree with him to say, because that he was wrong to say when he dismisses people, they go to warring faction, which was the greatest concern, to bring peace at a time. It's just like in America here, we're advocating for war crime one time, and Representative Kennedy, I think Joseph Kennedy, former congressman, he said to me, Councillor Gongloe, first thing first, peace first before justice, and I said, okay. So the overriding objective of the interim government was to bring about peace, okay? So, but at the same time, we're trying to promote good governance. For example, I read the first draft of the code of conduct that Dr. Saye sent to the legislature. And we're running a government with warring factions, representative, with political parties and interest groups. And every day you had to be fighting to keep the group together. That was the most important thing. Meanwhile, Dr. Saye, who used the broom as a symbol of change, was trying to carry on some of his policy of
Is that a progressive political ideology?
Yeah, to promote clean governance by trying to dismiss people. His own friend from Ministry of Education was dismissed. And then the other fellow from Lpr-Tv was dismissed. And by the time they dismissed, then they joined different warring factions. I think it was not reasonable to continue. Otherwise, the entire government would have been dissolved, perhaps.
Let's make a little progress here. Because, and the reason my emphasis on this here, this is something, it's disturbing. The dishonesty people bring in government, and they just think, in a words here, others know, people feel good to work for their country, and they serve with honesty. As Solicitor General, some of your critics said you were very soft on the white-collar crime corruption in the Helen Johnson Sirleaf government. You did resign. fair, good to give it to you. Do you believe there was a white-collar crime committed in the Helen Johnson Sirleaf government? And if Councillor Tiawan Gongloe to be the next president of the Republic of Liberia, will your administration take review these sort of white-collar crimes if they were committed, corruption?
We'll review all of the audit reports, because white-collar crime noted in audit reports, right? And other investigative reports. And then we'll take appropriate action based upon the reports within the framework of the law. And those who were not, the ones that were not investigated because of some reasons, we'll look at the law and do what is right to do in order to uncover those, because some things can be hidden for a long time, but investigations can discover those things when those governments are not in power. So we use our law to act in the best interests of the Liberian people.
Okay, to act in the best. Okay, let me ask you here, because this is a word, and just fire me in the list if I'm misquoting you. Coming to the WEI administration, you often say that the CDC government is acquiring the wealth at the expense of the Liberian people. Are those your words?
Well, yeah, they are. They are. It's obvious. I just spoke about it. It's obvious.
Do you have sufficient evidence to prove that?
I just told you.
I'm having a follow. I'm going to do a follow-up here. And you, Councillor, as a human rights lawyer, why not file this citizens' laws suit for the citizens and for the very progressive masses that you are fighting for? Why can't you do that as a human rights lawyer? We see other countries. It happened right now. Group of black lawyers. They are filing for Africans, refugees of different violations. You as a human rights lawyer, why can't you file that? If you feel you have evidence to substantiate your claim. But it seems to me, I'm hearing almost like the tone of Representative Yeke Kwaliba always says something, accuse the government, says something, and you say, okay, you're taking me to court. Then I will take my evidence there.
No. That's not what I'm saying. When this government leaves power, appropriate investigations will be done when we take over power to uncover all of the thieves, the theft that has occurred, by those who are engaged in thievery in government. They are in power, but it's clear to everybody, based on the lifestyle that they are living from the president down, that clearly they are not living on their salaries and benefits. It's just so clear. All right. I told you earlier that when you are walking in the sun and you say sun is shining, you don't need to give evidence that the sun is shining. When something is obvious, in law they call it, you take judicial notice of what is open. I told you the president built for the 7 condominiums in 1 year after he came to power. He didn't have those buildings before coming to power. He owes us an explanation on that. And all over Monrovia, top government officials who didn't have anything just yesterday, in short time, are millionaires in government. They're building huge buildings all over Monrovia, in other parts of the country, in short time. Now, when they are telling the boat to try their best because the economy is in a very tough situation, but they are living, rich lifestyles at the expense of the people.
So is there a starter?
And now let me tell you this. Let me tell you this. The Supreme Court has maintained that unless to have standing in court, you must be personally injured by a certain action. The citizen solidarity, there are several cases that has been taken to court. The only court that has said, look, anybody can bring a matter to court on a matter of public interest is the ECOWAS court, all right, that has done so. But we want to restrict ourselves to the election next year. The time is not too far. When we get this government out of power, we'll conduct full investigation on issues of accountability.
Okay, well, folks, in Radio Land, I'm Alfonso Zienso in an exclusive with a longtime human rights lawyer, Old lawyer, Councillor Tiawan Gongloe, is taking an aim at the higher office of the land. We're going to take a quick break, let our guests get a glass of water, and we'll be right back. Stay tuned. I'm Alfonso Zienso.
From the West African nation of Cote d'Ivoire, Liberia Public Radio and Television present Business Diary. This program focuses on the activities of business institutions and individuals in society.
I'm Jeremiah Zawu Senior, CEO of All Nation Bank. It has been very good to have this business established here. We are 1 year since we opened here in Anono. There have been few challenges here that have faced in this country, and that is all about the language. But here instead, I refuse to be deterred. I refuse to be discouraged. I open a business and things have been fine.
My name is Mercy Bangarilanga. I am a finance officer working for an international organization. I have a master's degree in business administration. So today I'd like to take the opportunity to talk to you about the COVID pandemic and how it has affected the business sector in terms of me working in an organization, an international organization.
Don't miss out. Be my guest. It's
Okay, there's our man, Ben Tamwin, based in Abidjan, is our West African Abidjan correspondent with his program that's Business Diary, which also take a review of small businesses of Liberia and outside of the country. Our guest here today in this special edition is Councillor Tiawan Saye Gongloe, 2023 presidential hopeful. Let's talk here because election, that seems to be the radon, that seems to be the sun. We're going to come to some of your agenda, I guarantee here. In one of your recent interview, Councillor, you expressed concerns about the Election Commission, especially the chairperson, who was vacated by the charges of the Anti-Corruption Commission that fired against her. Does she have the credibility to execute the 2023 presidential elections with other commissions, do you think?
Well, I've said that all the commissions are actually CDC people. She came there through CDC. But as to the specific question on the matter that was taken to court, it is my understanding that the government appealed to the Supreme Court. If that is so, then I can't make specific comment about that case right now because it's sub judice. Okay, but yes, I don't have, I don't really trust the Election Commission because is one-sided. It's one-sided, but it is possible that they could conduct a credible election and prove everyone who is doubting them wrong. We hope they can do that in 2023. I mean, when Elizabeth Boyner was acting chair of the Elections Commission, her own husband lost the election, and that really proved the credibility of the Elections Commission, Blamo Nelson. And people are questioning and say, oh, she's chairman of the Elections Commission and her husband is running. And the husband lost. We hope this Election Commission can do that. That it can come up with results. If the results are against CDC in the 2023 election, that it will make sure that those results come down.
Okay. Talk to me here. Let's go into your policy here, Ty, a little bit. There must be a cardinal reason why you are seeking for the higher office of the land. If Councillor Gongloe were to be the next president of the Republic of Liberia, let's take a little bit to review or profile his first 100 days in office. One of the things, and you want to speak to that, one of the things that is sickening to me, and I kind of like scratch my head, politicians, they are doing. They cannot single-handedly move around. I want to see politicians, whether governments or opposition, I want to see my country politicians having their economic advisor, domestic advisor. Those going to be, if elected, they're going to be the face of our country. But we don't see them. What is responsible? When will we hear Councillor Gongloe, economic advisor? That would give me a clue who potentially could be the chief economic advisor to the president, or some sort of finance minister, or some sort of higher decision maker. Why are we not hearing Liberian politicians putting forward some sort of skeleton faces so that we would know, we would get a sense of how their government going to look like? Who is your economic advisor? Do you tend to share that with us?
No, I'm not sharing that now. There are some people based on their current assignments, maybe with the international community or university or different assignments, who will not want to be politically exposed now. That does not mean that those people are not available. And it will not be in my best interest or their best interest to do that now. But those people are available. But they are because of their expertise, they are engaged in different areas. So you cannot they are talking to us. We cannot expose where they work because it will affect their job status.
They are in isolation. I want to know. You know better than I do. When we saw after the April, whatever the coup, the last Samuel Doe went to Mana River Union, brought in a veterans ambassador, Ernest Eastman, to be the face. Yeah, we are the same thing we are talking about. The very CDC government, we have a foreign minister who cannot travel, who cannot come to the biggest planets on earth where you can get subsidy to get stuff. I don't want to be caught in surprise. And our politicians, and this is what I have a problem when people transform or conform to be a politician, and then, oh, it's a very headache. At what point in time we're going to see the faces of Councillor Gongloe support star, team, economic, domestic, presidential or secretary? That's what I want to see, because that's what we see happening in modern society. And it is not happening in Liberia. That speaks to me is like lack of loyalty on the part and honesty on the part of these politicians, because they want to be hanging like a guardian, so that tomorrow when Councillor Gongloe take a second time, then they go jump on the side. But I think the commitment comes with it too. That would be part of what, if elected, your government, honest people want them to be. Do we have a timeline?
Yeah, but I'm not even a candidate yet. The election is 2023. Mm-hmm. So if some people, by aligning politically right now, will cost their jobs, that's sometimes it's too much a sacrifice to make for their families and all that. So when somebody is working with the UN or with the World Bank or with IMF, or they're working in a company or with a university that has clear rule that you cannot engage in politics or so, why will you compel them to leave their jobs now, and have their families suffer? At least during campaign time, which is about 3 months to election, it is reasonable for people to make sacrifices at that time. Don't ask people what you cannot do. I'm sure from where you are sitting, you will not, just leave whatever you are doing for the future that you are not sure of. Even if you are sure of, you don't want to leave a position that you are in, that you are using to sustain your family, when to go work with someone who does not have money to pay you, at least to make up for that lost income.
You've been also talking fairly, and you are at liberty if you want to plead the fifth here, by the way, Councillor, which of course I don't think you're going to plead the fifth. You are capable to answer all of the questions. But for so long, you are also from on some members of the opposition column, but people also are like corrupt. Now, 2023, I see it to be next door. Game plan, strategy, preparation is key in any race, which of course election is no exception. You will be going to your party convention. We have talked to other people, some other progressives, some of your other colleagues, progressive. They said, well, the councillor did not get the rally. I'm not sure what sort of rally in terms of the support, and we never got the consultations, and he's running, moving here. We don't know what is going to be the end of. What will happen if you do not end or win your party nominations? What becomes of you? Will you stay with the party? Will you go independent? Where will you find yourself?
I'm an institutional person. I remain with my party.
Yes,
that's what they call democracy. You know, we have to build institutions.
Mm-hmm. So no matter what happens, you will stay with LPP.
Yes. If I win,
do you get the support of your colleagues?
Listen, if I win, if there are candidates in there, I expect them to support me to campaign. If they win, we'll support them. Whoever wins. That's what they call being a party.
Why is the progressive message is not resonating? The progressives being in the vanguard of this sort of for civil liberties, equality in the politics of Liberia. We've been there, the Cllr, the Sordiot, and all of those folks, you know them better than I do. But the politics of Liberia now today is involved. People want quick fix, then long-term here. I'm wondering here, if you become a nominee for your party and to contest for the election, how do you intend to change the narrative considering the electorates that we have right now that want quick fix? They don't want a system, and I hold them responsible. All of these failures and what we are having. Will you be giving hand out for vote?
No. It is wrong. It is wrong to give handouts of vote, to be buying votes. No. I'll be giving what I intend to do. I will be educating the Liberian people about what I'm going to do when I become president. I will educate them. Yes, if some help comes, I will help them. But the key thing I will do will not be giving handouts for votes. For example, I'm in the United States now, and someone said, oh, you know, we can give you some school materials. I said, fine, you give it, I will donate to some school. That I can do. But the key thing will not be going out and giving bags of rice and things like that for votes. It's just wrong. We've criticized that in the past. But it does not mean that if we have assistance to give, we will not give. If somebody gives me a school bus and I say donate it to a school, I'll do it. That's normal. But I will not be the paramount, the mean way of campaigning.
Mm-hmm. Everyone,
I mean, listen, I've campaigned all my life. Mm-hmm. You know, as a political person, real campaign is not really during election. It's based on the life that you've lived all your whole life. That's the main thing. So, you know, Liberian people know me. It's not only election time that I'm going to tell them who I am. They know me. You call me poor man's lawyer. You say I'm a household name in Liberia. You said that. So to a large extent, I've already campaigned. You know, I'm just transitioning from being an advocate to a politician, a political person. And like I've said, I want to be a project manager for redirecting the coast of Liberia. Basically, that's why I talk about rule of law. You know, you talk about 100 days. I say in the first 100 days, I will issue one executive order to prevent ministers and senior officials of the government from interfering with police operation, so that everybody is under the ambit of the law, that nobody is above the law. Nothing like you know who I am. We have to have a country or rule of law to provide an environment for investment. We'll issue another executive order for also to maintain the independence of the judiciary in the first 100 days. In the same first 100 days, as part of our economic policy of promoting value addition to products in Liberia, we will issue an executive order to stop the exportation around laws from Liberia. We'll give incentives to companies that want to produce furniture, so that they can create jobs and add value to our forest products, timbers, and that will create jobs. We'll also give incentive to companies every 50 miles away from Monrovia. Not only furniture producing companies, but other companies, to the extent
How do you
that
go about to determine those companies that you're going to be giving incentive to? What would be the benchmark?
companies that are engaged in value addition, manufacturing, opening factories, because that will create jobs even here in advanced countries. But right now, the economy is concentrated in Monrovia. We want to decentralize the economy so that people can engage in economic activities in Kepamos, in Bagleyville, in Greenville, in Vonjama, in Tapeta, in Ganta, wherever, all over the country. When they do that, they will create jobs in the local areas. And those earning income from those jobs will then pay income taxes to government. And the income that they will generate, they will buy goods and services. Government will generate taxes from the income generated from those goods and services, those who provide them. And then there will be an earning multiplier effect of such economic policy. The rural parts will be vibrant economically. Now, the social benefit of that is that the young people who leave from Kipamos, from Tapeta, from all over Liberia to come to Monrovia will slow down. There will be a reduction in rural-urban migration. As you know, Alfonso, it is those young people, when they come from the interior to look for greener pastures in Monrovia, that when they don't find a greener pasture, their friends get them to taking drugs to forget their trouble. And then when they take drugs, they get addicted to drugs, they start committing armed robbery and, committing other crimes, raping women and doing different things. And then they end up in jail. The jails are packed with a lot of young people, especially young men. All right. So we will, with this kind of policy, it will slow down the rural urban migration. While at the same time, those of them who are in the street that will cause Zogo, the drug affected youth, will use money generated from these economic activities and the slowing down of corruption to rehabilitate the Zokos, give them skills so that they can be prepared for the employment market. Some of them will be self-employed. They'll be carpenters, they'll be masoners, they'll be tailors, they'll do, they'll have all kinds of trade. They'll be yellow machine operators, they'll be saw doctors, whatever. And then they will be productive and, and be meaningful to our economy. This is what will make Liberia more peaceful, because you see, you're combating crime, you're providing opportunities for the economy to grow by giving jobs, you're slowing down crime rate, then you're providing, by doing that, you're providing protection for the citizens and residents of Liberia. It will make Liberia also an attractive place for tourism and other activities. You create the environment now for socio-economic development and for so many activities.
I don't like to use the word most often the politicians call Zogo. I see them as a disadvantage.
I said drug-affected youth.
Okay, all right, good. Because politicians, I
said drug-affected youth.
All right, then
I said commonly called Zogo for people to understand.
Yeah, sometimes if I see some of our lawmakers and they're using those words and things, I kind of like scratch my head, because it is their creation. The victim becomes a victor and the victor becomes the victim. Now they are calling them, I see as a stereotype, and most of them, and not all, but most of them, they are not doing anything. I don't know where is the National Rehabilitation Center. My senator here,
nothing like that.
Yeah, Jack Reed here, David Cicilline here in my own state here, they're not involved in giving people mattresses, go come collect 5 cents, 10 cents, bare box mattresses and take them to Liberia. And they just think they're going to take these people there, give them food, they eat, they get it and go. You need psychiatrists, you need clinicians, you need counselors. It's a long, huge program. The 103 men and women, both GOL and the opposition, they are unable to come up with a plan to rehabilitate the Catherine Mill Center, or even the, how you call it, this maximum prison there. I don't know what is the status of it. They are unable. Yeah, they are unable to rehabilitate that. And if we not address the future of these people, and people just think they want to go in the house a Sunday, or they want to be presidents and leave that undone, we are still not tackling the problem. Because guess what, Councillor? You hold your iPhone 13 Pro Max, the man in the street there, and he can't even get anything. He's going to slap you to take it, because they know exactly it is the work of the politician that do that creation. So let me ask you this question here. If Councillor Tiawan Gongloe is elected as president of the Republic of Liberia, where will the future of this generation of today, where will their future be? Will there be a new dynamics, or there be a new paradigm in rehabilitating the future of these people here? We can't leave them, so we can't send them to Guinea, we can't send them to Cote d'Ivoire, we can't send them to Ghana. They are Liberians. We have to rehabilitate them.
Alfonso, I said that earlier, but let me re-emphasize. One of the things that I've done, and a few months ago, I interviewed the drug-affected young people. My law office on Ashmont Street. They have many of them on Ashmont Street. They are also on Center Street. They are on Broad Street. They are on Gurley Street. That's where they are concentrated. Not that they are not in other parts of Monrovia or other parts of Liberia, but these are the areas in which they are concentrated. I asked each of them at different times, what do you want me to do for you when I become president of Liberia? Each of them said, and they know me, all of them know me. I mean, I'm very popular with all of them. They call me, oh, our papi, Councillor Gongloe. So then they said, each of them, we want to be rehabilitated and given skills so we can be able to earn money and take care of ourselves and our families. Each of them, as if they memorized it, but at different times. So I consider it to be genuine. They are sensible people. They are just affected by drugs. That's all, but they know what they want. And so when I become president, that will be a priority. We'll employ the best experts, to rehabilitate them. We'll also employ people to give them skills simultaneously. That's what we'll do, so that they can become productive, so that we cannot turn our backs on them. They are our children. I was speaking in one community, and one lady told me her only son is in the street. She was virtually crying when I talked about rehabilitation. She said, Papa, that the only reason I will vote for you that the only reason that my only child is in the street is really a matter of concern to so many families. And the number is increasing every day because their friends are adding them on.
Right.
Yeah.
So considering this now, which seems to be like a plan here, like a spine on it a little bit here. So how are you going to address this mental health and all of that, this rehabilitation?
We need to rehabilitate
alcohol, drugs, abuse, all of that.
They will have the experts help us to rehabilitate. I mean, Catherine Mills may not be there because I understand the land has been taken over. A lot of people have built houses around there, but we need to have a good, concentrate on rehabilitation program. Carter Center is doing that now, but government needs to do that, to have rehabilitation.
Yeah, talking about
rehabilitation program. We cannot abandon our responsibility just to an NGO. The Carter Center is helping, but the government needs to take that and make it a mean government program and spend on it.
Yeah, talking about government to spend on it, deal or no deal. Helen Johnson Sirleaf government, I know, Liberian know, the international community invest a huge sum of money with respect to rehabilitations of war-affected children. I just do not know where is the status of that. if Councillor Tiawan Gongloe is elected president, will Helen Johnson Sirleaf be able to provide some explanation where the rehabilitation process of Liberians, what affected people, where it stopped, where the money, how much was spent?
Well, I mean, I don't take it like that. We'll ask the proper question. We'll ask the institution that are responsible. We'll have a full investigation of the past, because you have to know the past to know where you are going. More than that, I've said I will call a national conference in the first month of being in government. All of those issues, including you, will bring those issues. We'll put them on the floor. There are many more issues that affect Liberia's development that we as a country need to have a conversation about. I think Mr. Taylor had a very good idea of calling that national conference in 1998. It is sad that the report did not come out, because I was one of the presenters there. Presenters came from America. It was a good idea. Presenters came from America and made presentation.
Okay, so if you
so when we do that, when I'm elected, be sure that you'll be one of the invitees to come there and raise the issues for us to debate and find solution to the problem. No one person has the
just presidents, they have their own media people when they get to office. But okay, let's talk.
You're citizen of Liberia, not just be media people. There'll be people coming to ask the hard questions, raise the tough issues.
Yeah, I'm going to be bringing in Cllr Goyat, is a senior contributor of the Liberia Public Radio shortly. But let's do a little bit of politics here and go back to Lo-Fi. The guy who just won, Councillor Jala, is the chair of LPP, right?
No, he's a former chair.
Former chair, okay, former chair of LPP. Is LPP intend to fee some candidates comes this legislative election, presidential? You are the only person. Are there other people that in the progressive you know about?
Oh, there are in fact, I think on the by-election, LPP feel a representative candidate in Birmingham, Mr. C. So there are people who are gearing up in the various counties to run for legislative seats, and we know them. Yeah.
So if you win it, you want to bring. Okay, let me bring in Cllr Goyat and our man SK here. He also supporter, but I hope Cllr here that he has made a position clear. But let's just bring in here. It's all about Liberia, and now we're going to be going to our field. He had questions relative to our talking point we're going to be bringing here. And the basis of this here is to give camera to those that are seeking for the higher office of the land. Let me go to Minnesota. Our senior contributor of the Liberia Public Radio, Cllr Goyat, is here, right here. I see him smiling. Let me go on the other side here. SK, it seems to me the guy is making headway here. That's the indicator here, but I don't want to put judgment on that yet. Cllr, let me just bring you in here. We've been having a conversation here, a little bit of time to go here. I saw you backstage putting down something, so maybe they are on touch question here. Let's get a cat out of the bag here. What you've been hearing so far? What's your questions and what's your own observation? What's your question to you jotted up to the councillor?
Hey, Councillor, how are you? Nice seeing
you. How are you?
I am well. Alfonso let it put me in trouble. He said I give you a question ahead of time. So I am very impressed about the delivery. I'm impressed about your first 100 days and the issues of executive orders to fix certain things. My one question I got for you is stopping or slowing down the rural-urban migration by providing economic activities in the rural areas really great. But do you also see that one of the reasons for the rural-urban migration is access to quality education? I'll give you, for example, if you are in Lo-Fi County, the highest degree you can get living in Lo-Fi County is an associate degree, because we want to have a community college. And so if you want to excel or go beyond an associate degree, you have to leave Lo-Fi County. So that is also a fuel for the urban, for the rural urban migration. So how do you factor quality education access as being one of those key things that you use to fight or slow down the migration?
That's an important question. I mean, I left when I graduated from high school in Cllr, I had to go to Monrovia to attend the University of Liberia. That is true. That is changing. For example, in Nimba now, there's the Nimba University, and we will continue that policy to improve the educational system and provide access to quality education to Liberians all over the country. Today, Tubman University is way out there in southeastern Liberia, and it's a hub that people are living from refugee to go to instead of coming to Monrovia, or living from Sino to go to, or Grand Crew to go to. We need to provide access to quality education for all Liberians, wherever they are. That is a responsibility of government. The responsibility of government to educate its youth is one of the constitutional responsibility provided under the general policies and guidelines for governance in Liberia in the Constitution. So it is doable, and we commit ourselves to do it. In fact, those graduates could then be some of the experts that will fill those competencies that will be provided opportunities to operate in the rural areas.
Talking about decentralizations, I've never heard any of our people. Monrovia is clustered, Monrovia is jam-packed, and there is a reason why Monrovia is jam-packed. Is anybody, including you, is taking a consideration to say, wait a minute, some of these ministry needs to get out of this place here. To get to Kakata is nothing. To get to Bona, at least we get a paved road. So as to open up government instead of having a close-in government like this. I'm not a guy who is a favorite of wasteful spending. If Councillor Gongloe is elected president of the Republic of Liberia, how do you intend to downsize government, and where would that be coming from?
I told you we'll have a national debate on all those issues, downsizing, creating some.
No, but what are you putting on the
that don't exist? But let me tell you this.
Who will facilitate the national debate?
But I told you I will lead a national conference to be held in the first month. Look, I've heard some people say, cut down this ministry, cut down that ministry. The studies have to be done, to see how to downsize, how to streamline, which institutions to get rid of. For example, we used to have Ministry of Planning. Under President Salif, the Ministry of Planning and the Ministry of Finance were merged. But then the revenue division of the Ministry of Finance were taken and made a separate entity, right? Liberian Revenue Authority. Those were based on studies. These are things that we can hold a national conference on and deal with. We have Ministry of Rural Development. Ministry of Rural Development now a part of Ministry of Public Works, right? Based on studies. Now we have to, during our national conference, we'll find out whether in fact it was good for Ministry of Rural Development to remain as it was, because Ministry of Rural Development used to do a lot in the rural area. It was responsible for feeder roads and all of that. Public Works now today contracts every road project to companies. Should we go back? In fact, I strongly believe that we should go back to a situation where we used to have public work yards in every county, and they were maintaining roads during the dry season. When I was growing up in the interior, we never had a situation where the road from Maryland was cut off from the road to Monrovia, because there were maintenance crew in Kamuyeke, in Tota, in Tapeta, along the road. Same thing with Zozo and other areas. Should we go back to that so that our roads are maintained, since we don't have all-weather roads all over the country? Go back and start contracting every road project, feeder road project to companies. Even with the level of corruption, all of those things are slowed down because the red tape in the process is just so much. People are complaining. So these are things that we need to have. Even our school schedule. Some people have made observation and look, we copy after the Americans say, school should open September and all of that. I know growing up, I learned about farming because when we used to close December, we go by in the interior, we help our parents to make farm. We learn about farming. That's how I learned how to cut bush. I know about things in the interior. We spend Christmas. Because of the change of our school schedule, many of our students, for example, don't know about Flag Day anymore.
All right. So, because
you have to look at the national context. And so we have a big conversation to have in the first month of our government, to see what institutions should remain, which institutions should be brought back, whether we should create new institutions. These are conversations that we need to have.
Okay, because Goya here, for sure he's going to be playing the softball here, and I'm not here to play a softball. Politician, it is time to hold them accountable now, because when they get in this building, I will not have the opportunity to raise my finger. So on this side,
not with me, I'm a promoter of press freedom. You always have.
I don't know yet until that happens. I don't know yet
in our country.
I don't know that until that happens. So on the flip side of this here, council,
you don't know that I went to jail because of press freedom in 2000.
No, what I'm saying, I'm talking to you as a politician. Your record is extraordinary.
Yeah, I'm not going to discuss my record.
As a facilitator of this network here now, I'm not willing to kind of play in that sort of. But let me get on the flip side of this. Political parties, they are institutions, and part of to argument your case, to make your case to the Liberian people. Why LPP can't embark on this sort of studies now and come out to say, hey, the reason we want to be this, we have done this study, and it is time for us to change it based on what we are getting. But what I'm hearing now, people want to go on the full floor first. They want to get the state powers, and then they can call a conference. That is like,
Let me tell you this.
Would there be
you can change government when you are running government. Studies have been done, yes, but I cannot sit here. I just told you some of the changes that were done and how I am thinking about some of them differently. For example, change of school schedule. For example, Rural Development Ministry being submerged and being made part of the Ministry of Public Works. It doesn't emphasize rural development anymore. Farm to market roads, building, providing hand pumps, and all the things happening in the rural areas was a clear responsibility of the Rural Development Ministry. And we saw them working. We need to look at all those and see how to review some of the changes that are being made. And experts will come to deal with that, but that's not an issue.
Is there a implementation of a policy issue?
The details of our plan of what we're doing in government will be provided later, but we have our 10-point agenda that we are talking about, which captures the general things that we'll do. The details will come later.
I'm concerned. I was in Liberia recently. We had a conversation where they made this okay. We are having it here. But I had an experience. One of my staff, we were out trying to have a little bit cool leisure time, and we got a phone call. We needed to go to an emergency. Went pick up the father, and I'm telling you, 5 different hospitals, JFK, one other one going to Fiama area, the Benson. For everywhere you went, no bed, no this, no that. So let me ask you, how much do you intend to invest within the health system in order that when somebody is sick, somebody is something, they can go to a nearby clinic or somewhere that they can be stabilized and they need to move to a bigger facility? How much do you intend to invest in your health program?
Health and education, agriculture will carry the higher portions of our budget. Okay, it's important, to keep your citizens safe. The health situation in our country is terrible. Even our foreign beds. The question is whether the president will even going to get adequate treatment. Because most often you have to go to drugs to buy a syringe, right? For JFK, the biggest hospital.
About 10 persons they were outside in the to go in here, 10 persons.
Yeah.
10 persons.
I know that situation.
And they were sitting down outside.
My mother-in-law was sick, and she was taken to a hospital at 2:00 in the morning. The only reason why she got admitted because I was loyal for that particular, providing legal service for that particular hospital, and the manager had to come to find some sort of space. And I said to myself, what about other people who don't have such connection? So we're having problem. We need to expand medical services in Liberia, more government medical services, and provide medicine, diagnostic equipment, just everything so that people are properly treated. Because I want the responsibilities of any government to keep your citizens healthy, you know. So we're going to invest a lot in health.
Okay,
let me ask you follow up to that, Mr.
After Sisi, then Satu, you can come into here.
Let me ask the follow up to the councillor. Will President Tiawan Gongloe administration be willing to build more clinics and hospitals and schools? And I know I see you nodding. It's a yes, but to what extent? Because again, money is only finite, resources are finite, and there are many things that are going to be competing for your attention. So, what do you see as places that we can take, that you would be willing to take money from to put into hospitals? Because like a big county like Lofa County, you got Tiawan Hospital, and then you got South Korean Hospital. And anywhere between those places, anybody sick with a bad roads, curable diseases or illnesses are killing people. So what would a Tiawan Gongloe president be willing to take away from in order to invest in providing hospitals and medications and nurses and doctors and teachers and quality education for our people in the rural places?
As much as the security sector is important, for me, the most important security sector is police. The other one, NSA, EPS, the executive mansion budget is high. We have to cut down some of the expenses in the executive mansion, some in the legislature, and put the money more to providing vital services, education, health, and putting some money into agriculture. We will examine and cut, because, you know, the money for the office of the president, pro tem, speaker, and all of that is just so high, astronomical. If we take money from those areas, we can then provide money for the people, the employers of those who serve in the government. So that we can have more clinics, we can have more schools. Look at Monrovia today. We don't have Monrovia Central High anymore. We don't have Esther Baker. We don't have Ellie Scarborough. There's so many schools that don't exist anymore. Bassa teenage is not there.
Now, my former school, I went there the other day looking around to get, I'm the Renault or car dealer or whatever, or where is the ages? Let me go to Satu here. I almost start screaming and yelling earlier. I said, oh no, if I do that, I say this guy is crazy. So Satu, let me just come to you. Let's see what are the carry here, baby.
Yeah, go ahead.
What's your question?
Well, I have a question for Councillor Gongloe. I mean, of course, I'm a supporter of Councillor Gongloe, so there's no doubt about it. My question I have is that you talk about the recurring expenditure in government right now. Right now, when you look at our current budget, we are spending roughly about 84% just on recurring expenditure. We don't have much in terms of capital expenditure. If you look at the legislature budget, they are spending almost 64.3 million just on this budget alone, just for their expensive. They are also, last year they collected 30,000 each. This year they are giving themselves another 3.6 million for the so-called legislative engagement funds. If you become president, we know the constitution says the legislature there to allocate funds. How are you going to work with them in really cutting the salary? Because what we notice is every year, every fiscal year, the legislature budget increases at the expense of food insecurity in the country. We're talking about agriculture. Agriculture right now, the government giving agriculture like $6 million And when is it going to end if you become president?
Well, I want to sign on to
president, not if, when, because we know you're going to become president.
Yeah, I'm not going to sign on to that type of expenditure, 30,000 and all of that. I'm not going to sign on to that. You know, I'm not going to sign on to that because it takes money away that should be used for providing basic services. I will not send a budget that will include such thing. And if they include anything for themselves like that, I will not sign the budget. All right? Because it only becomes law when the president approves it. So we will emphasize spending money for vital services. Yeah. For providing vital services. We are not going to repeat some of the same things that Cllr is talking about right now. Those are all elements of bad governance.
Okay. All right.
And if they don't want to approve, if the legislature has a problem, we'll take our case to the people and explain to them that, oh, yes, no, legislators want to be re-elected. The only way to deal with them is to take your case to the people. It happens in every democratic system. Yes, as a way to do it. You don't give them brown envelopes.
All right. So there was a question here. We're going to be picking up a random question here by one Joseph. Is one of our prime-time follower, and I believe he was making reference. What is the council? I want to get this question here. Let me try to see. I want to put the right question there. I highlighted it first, but it has to do with war and economic crime code. Yeah, I believe Benda wanted to know what is the council's positions on the war and economic crime code. Let me see if I'm able to get that. But basically, that's the question here. Councilor, is there definitive positions on the war and economic crime code?
I've said that over and over. My position has not changed. We are committed to implementing the recommendations of the TRC, including the establishment of war and economic crimes code. We've said that over and over on wherever we've gone. That position has not changed. And interestingly, all of the candidates now are committed to that. I mean, during the 2017 debate, the only candidate that was committed to it was presidential candidate Benina Yuri. Last year, I heard candidate Joseph Bwaka. I heard the other candidates say that they have changed their position, including Cummins, that they are all not for restorative justice, but they are now for war and economic crimes. They said that last year. So it's not an issue anymore. I think there's unanimity of view on that.
Okay, I hear you measuring some of these oppositions, and Goya, don't hesitate, you can come in. I hear you measuring some of these opposition members here. I could make a guess here. I want us over 3 a.m. phone calls ongoing as we speak. I don't know. I'm just making a guess game. But if Councillor Gongloe becomes the nominee of his party, which of these political parties within the opposition political ideology is compatible to that of Councillor Gongloe? Are you having any conversation with any of the opposition as we speak?
Not yet. I'm just an aspirant. I'm not a candidate yet. I'm not at their level. They are candidates for their political parties. When I become a candidate, with my party, will be holding conversations with other political actors.
Who is on the radar?
I will plead the fifth on that one day.
Oh, Councillor, I promise the people that you are not going to plead the fifth.
I'm not going to disclose everything to you. Who is on the radar? No.
So let me push a little bit back.
There's no preferential thing here.
Okay.
So Councillor, on the stay back on the issue of war and economic crimes code. I want to ask, as far as economic crimes go, how far back are you willing to go as far as the law allows you? So, for example, you worked for IGNU for the late Dr. Emma Sawyer, may his soul rest in peace. And you did articulate that it was at that point we were choosing peace over fighting corruption. And you did work for Madame Salif and resigned from her administration. And she's famous for saying that the squander that her son did of Liberian resources, she take full responsibility for that. Are you willing to, or will President Tiawan Gongloe be willing to go as far back as the interim government of national unity all the way up to the alien government and not just selectively prosecuting George Weah and his administration when it comes to economic crimes?
We'll go by what the recommendations of the TRC says, and we'll go by what the law says. That's it. We're within the scope of the law.
There are other people who said the TRC report itself and members, it was some sort of like controversial, and so there's a divided house when you enter the political or social discourse within Liberia. So would that still be considered or what? Or will you apply other?
In the democracy, people always disagree.
Will you apply some other administrative policy or idea to kind of figure out what you want to do or what?
There are different things to do in the TRC report. For example, there's Palaver Hut. They are putting statues different places to create memory. There are many things to do in the TRC report. They're not just about prosecution. There are many things to do. That TRC report, if you read our whole history about some of the things that led to where we found ourselves fighting for 14 years are all in that, and there are serious recommendations that should guide government moving forward.
Okay, one of our followers here, Bernard Bafford here, is saying, Councilor, here in the United States, public utilities are privatized. Which public utilities in Liberia will be privatized? LEC, water and sewer, internet and cable services. This is all current. This is our man, Bafford. You want to respond to that? If elected, where do you see it? Which corporation you see hopefully to privatize? Because I don't know what other people paying light bill. Only the poor people paying light bill, but they are still burning, and it's just ridiculous.
Well, we'll look into that. That would be, we'll look at what should be privatized and what should be kept in the public, because you have to provide these services even for the poor people. Sometimes when it's privatized, people cannot afford. We'll look at what is happening in Ivory Coast, for example, where electricity is provided up to the villages. We'll look at the best examples in the sub-region and see how we can have private-public interaction to make sure that these services are provided for all citizens. May not be completely privatized. It may be both, both public and private interactions. Okay. Yeah.
Let digress here. All I've been hearing and all in all follow everything about Councilor is accountability. Someone should be.
I talk about the economy too. You're not fair to me.
Eh?
Then I talk about deconcentrating the economy.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Maybe there's if I'm not talking about that, there's something I'm coming to. You have said on that here. So let's practicalize your work now before getting on the fourth floor of the executive mansion. If you become president, you are currently in the United States. You alluded here, there will be a fundraiser. Will you make a disclosure at the end of your tour here as to how much the Gongloe campaign raised in the interest of transparency and good governance? Will you make a full disclosure?
Oh. I would disclose to my campaign team in Monrovia how much I'm raising. At the appropriate time, we'll disclose to the public. The main thing we are doing here is awareness. Yes, we are picking up dollars and cents along the way. But yes, we'll disclose at the appropriate time. All right?
Sisse.
Yeah, so my bigger concern is that what do you think, Councillor, is the top two things right now that bothers the typical Liberian in the village? So speak to a Liberian struggling in one of our many villages in any part of the country. What do you think are the top two things on their minds right now, and how will a President Gongloe administration ensure that people feel the protection and the power of the executive, regardless of how far away they live from the executive mansion or how close they live to the executive mansion?
Health services, and security. When people hear about disappearances, people are dying mysterious death and all of that, people get concerned because people want security. Security is quite important. Health services are quite important. These are two priorities. And let me say it goes to all safety, because health safety, security, protection, those are quite important. People want to live in a secure environment, all right? And then they will know that when something happens, somebody is arrested, prosecuted, government shows concern, condemns it. I mean, look what is happening in America today. Because of the thing that happened, the killing in Illinois, the president of the United States has spoken about it. Local government officials have spoken about it. The police authority has spoken about it. Citizens feel concerned. And I think that should be a priority of every government. Security, protection, health services. I mean, there are other things, but since they talk about two priorities, in the interior, when people get sick, they want to get treated immediately. People also want to be secure and protected. When they go on their farm, they should not feel that somebody will kill them on their way to their farm. They want to feel free.
So there's a question here. Maybe it might sound ridiculous, but let me restructure this question here. Somebody is giving a kudo. Councillor, he has done a lot of stuff here, but they are looking at the other side. He's a poor man lawyer. He's been out there for nearly everybody. You're paying, you're not paying, he's there with you. Is that transferable when he becomes the chief executive? The empathetic side of him, we cannot have an influence in making some tough decisions. You being a poor man lawyer, poor man commit a crime, will you say, oh, because he poor, we'll do this way? How are you going to square that out, Councillor?
No, we apply the law. We apply the law to everyone equally, poor or rich, and irrespective of who is involved. The reason why we go to the rescue of poor people, they don't have money to hire lawyers. But that does not mean that we are justifying the wrongs they do. All right?
We want to get it out there. Oh, poor man, poor people are the poor that are causing trouble every.
No, not necessarily.
Not necessarily. I don't want to be general. Not necessarily all of them. But the poor that one poor man lawyer, they're forgetting to know the poor man lawyer is the president now. So they come and go beg you, and they're going to phone for the president.
No. If they commit crime, they will bear the full weight of the law. Clearly.
So let me
let me come in quick.
Let me ask a follow up on that. On the because I heard you talk about dispensing justice for everybody equally. So I want to ask a question. I don't know if it's a question, but I'm going to make a statement, and maybe you can reconcile that for us. How do you reconcile being the former Solicitor General for the alien administration, and also being the lawyer on record that defended the folks from Grand Jury who were accused of treason? And I want to play that because I want you to tell us how did you get to that calculation to say, yes, I'm going to take this case, yes, I'm going to defend them, even though at one point in time I worked for this government, I am willing to step on their toes to go to court with them to fight for the rights of these accused.
Those people were arrested some of them 2011, 2012, they stay in jail for so long, and there was no lawyer to defend them. But more than that, they were charged with mercenarism. Mercenarism, not treason. Mercenarism is when you go to another person's country and commit crime there, and commit a crime that in your country would rather be considered treason. You're trying to subvert the country of you get involved in war, you're a mercenary, you're what they call soldier of fortune or something like that. So when you are arrested, it is that country that should prosecute you. So I found it strange that Liberian government were prosecuting its citizens for allegedly committing the crime of mercenarism in Ivory Coast.
In different country.
Yes. And then so we came to the defense. We filed a motion to dismiss. It was denied. We defended them. 5 of them were released in the lower court. They remained 13. We went to the Supreme Court. We argued. 4 were released. Additionally, then after that, the rest who were convicted were pardoned. Some by President Salif, some by President George Weah. Yes, but we went in there because we found it strange that the government of Liberia was prosecuting its citizens for mercenarism.
Did not know their law. Settlers, you wanted to come in.
Yeah. Councillor Gongloe, according to the Global Hunger Index, Liberia Global Hunger Index 2021, Liberia was rated at 33.3%. That shows the country is severely hungry. I mean, we are rated as one of the most hungry countries in the world. How do you intend to tackle the issue of food security, especially hunger?
You know, rice is what we eat in Liberia. And according to all the reports that I read, we import more than 80% of the rice that we eat, which means out of every 100 bags of rice that we eat, 20 bags or less than 20 bags are produced in Liberia. We are extremely food insecure. But we use cutlasses and hoes in Liberia to make farm. Cutlasses and hoe can no more produce enough food to feed Liberia. Here is what I intend to do: to revive the Agricultural Cooperative Development Bank, and through that bank to provide farming machines and equipment to farmers cooperatives in the rural areas, so they can be engaged in mechanized farming. It's happening in Nigeria and other places. That's how they are producing rice. We cannot use cutlasses and hoe anymore. And if we don't assist the farmers to produce rice, oh yes, we'll be spending a lot of our foreign exchange on rice. And you know, when the price of rice goes up, Liberians get poorer, because the price is determined by those who export rice to our country. So we give the machines, not freely, on loan to the farmers cooperative, 10 to 15 years interest-free loan, you know, so that through the cooperatives, they can work and pay for those machines and own them over a period of 10 to 15 years.
I think there's a question in the chat that follows up on that. I ask about whether you'll be willing to reopen the agricultural bank that would then serve as the bank for giving loans and grants to farmers and farmers cooperatives.
I just said that I will revive the Agricultural and Cooperative Development Bank. You know, if I was meant for corporate.
Okay, we are winding down here, but let's bring in base. Let me just ask this question here. In the past, you spoke to the media. I just want to do a follow-up because you, one of the persons who represent the late Princess case, and you told the family to look up to you. Recently, it was reported in one of the dailies, the family is still asking GOL to turn the body over for burial. Are they still looking up to you?
Well, I mean, I was assisting the family to get to the bottom of the case. The autopsy was done. They were not satisfied with it. They tried to get a pathologist from Philippines that they trust. It was difficult for the pathologist to come. You know, in the family, they are like, okay, let's just try and bury Princess and forget it. That's a decision that the family has. You know, nobody can question the family because it is their death. That's not a legal issue. All right. So the family wants to bury the body of their loved one and move on. You know, that's what they want to do because it's been difficult to get the pathologist of their choice. I would like to get to the bottom of the case myself. In the government, I say wants to get. I mean, the family should bring a pathologist that the government will pay for. But again, these things are emotional, you know. So we talk with the family, but we give deference to the family when it comes to they are the ones that are going through all these emotional stress, and the family is meeting all of the time. As a lawyer, I like to see the end of this because whatever we do for accountability is not necessarily Princess is dead and gone, but it's for other people, you know, so that these kind of things can be prevented. As it is, there's still data about the actual cause of death in the absence of a second report. But you know, the family is sitting and mad, and they are going through all of the emotional situation. That's why we really need to expand our medical services to have all of the experts in Liberia, because you know there's a difference between clinical pathologists and forensic pathologists. We need to have forensic pathologists too in our country. The doubt about this report is that there's a member of the family who's a doctor and says, look, the people who did this work are not forensic pathologists. There's a different thing you do when you're dealing with living human beings. The tissues are living, everything is there. There's a different form of training to deal with dead bodies. And again, I'm not a doctor, but the doctor in the family says this, and as a lawyer, I defer to that. And I hope that the government will do everything to train forensic pathologists, because forensic pathologists have different training requirements and they have different skills. So if an autopsy is done by a person who is not a forensic pathologist, obviously there will be doubt over the outcome, and that is what is happening in this case. We need to have, if the government does not have forensic pathologists now, as it doesn't, perhaps it can retain someone from abroad and pay them so that there can be full investigations without doubt. You know?
Okay. You said you are a guy who is following the letter to the book. So what is running through my vein right now, Matari, everything is pumping. There must be a new sheriff. So I'm wondering, what kind of cabinet the Gongloe bring into place?
The cabinet ministers who will follow the policies that I'm espousing right now. Issues of accountability, you know, there'll be zero tolerance for corruption. I'm repeating about, we'll monitor it by the lifestyle audit. It's never happened in Liberia before. So unless you know, we'll do lifestyle audit, then the salaries and benefits will be on the internet. Not many people want that level of openness. And, you know, they must be prepared to be accountable to the people. That's it.
What kind of police commissioner? You frown on the police, and you made a specific reference. What kind of police commissioner would the Gongloe administration have?
And the police? I didn't get that question. Please repeat.
I was wondering the kind of police commissioner, if elected president, because you made a.
I'll bring someone who is knowledgeable in the field of police science. We'll do background check on that person in terms of the person's level of credibility, because it's not just education. You know, what I've learned since I've been in America here, serious position people do background check, because you can be well educated and dishonest. You can be well educated in discipline in various ways. So we'll look at people who have shown a track record of commitment and honesty to policing, to appoint them police commissioners. All right, that's what we'll do. And every person that will be appointed in government will be educated in his or her field and experience. We'll do background check on people, because you know somebody can have 3 or 4 PhD and be very dishonest. We don't want people like that. Exactly. You know, we don't want people who will become millionaires in government. We want a government of committed people that will create an environment for Liberians to produce millionaires outside.
Because what I'm trying to do here is to tap into your expertise as a lawyer, prosecutor, and everything here. So I'm wondering here.
Defense counsel.
Defense counsel. All of them in that bucket there. I don't want people's civil liberties to be abused. Do you? Some of those people, let's dance around a few names. Where are they? Are they in Liberia or here? Police commissioner. That's you know.
I'm not going to call anybody's name.
Yeah, okay. Let's not call the name. But where are they around? Are you talking to a few folks?
That's a sector I've been working for a long time in my life. But I'm not going to call names.
What is the person in Liberia?
I'm not going to go there with you. I will leave that doubt. But I can tell you that we'll have competent persons appointed to the, to occupy all the responsible positions in the government, including the police chief. They will be experienced, they will be competent, they will be honest and disciplined based on their track record.
How does someone earn your trust?
Trust is based on people past record. It's just clear. You know, not what people say, but what you know people do. That's the basis of trust. It's based on example. All right?
So on the issue,
if somebody asks me to whether or not they should appear on LPR radio, it'll be based on the interview I've had with you. It'll be based on the interview I've watched. So that's, that's the basis of trust or lack of trust, based on record.
So a little segue on that trust, because I see one of our followers here keep posting this, so I need to probably ask this question before we lose fans. But on the issue of trust, and I'm going to paraphrase this. The person is asking about the genesis of the nickname you got, Poulion, and what does that mean, and where does that come from? Because this person is very adamant about this, so let me ask that question.
That question is coming from a fan, and as a Grandian asking that question.
Yeah, because the question was about how do you
Poulion is a name that was given to me in Grandian in 2009 by the people of Port Town, where when I was Minister of Labor, a project was done, and so the name means Poulion. But Poulion means savior, liberator. I slept there 2 nights, and they thought it was strange for me to do that. They felt it was strange for me to do that as someone who originated from Nimba, and then the war had just ended. It was not long. Why did I trust them to sleep in that rural town for 2 nights without soldier, without any security around? So they said, oh, but this action here taken by you has sort of help to reconcile Nimba and Grand Jude and bring us closer. So we call you Pulion, liberator, savior, somebody who does good.
Right. And I saw though, I monitor those beautiful, colorful images at the time. Okay, folks, we're going to be leaving it now. We'll be wrapping up, gentlemen, and then a final question before we let our guests go, and then we can dance a hard ball here, and that way he off the camera.
Well, yeah, I just have, one last part question for the counselor, being a former solicitor general and prosecutor and defense counsel. What do you think is the major reason for the spike in rape cases and gender-based violence in Liberia? And this cuts across all sectors. We haven't seen them in schools where educators are supposed to be trusted by students, and these acts are being carried out. So, what do you think accounts for the spike? And what would you do as a sitting president with a background knowledge of law to ensure that there are things done to protect the most vulnerable in Liberia?
That's a good question. The reason, that's a sociological question that people need to study and come out. But all I say that people who commit crime against people will be held accountable. I mean, I argue I can take responsibility for closing down the Never Die Church. I argued a living counselor case before the Supreme Court. One of them were called Wonderful Counselor, the other one Living Counselor, and they were accused of seriously abusing, raping 4 young little girls below the age of 15. Some of them were 8 and all of that, and they said they were showing them love, what I'd say agape love or whatever they were saying. But I argued that case before the Supreme Court. And they are in jail today, serving life sentence. It is true that during our time, magistrates went to jail, school teachers, principal. Even I remember a reverend that went to jail. There are people. That's why it's difficult to say what is running in their mind. Because why would a reverend engage in rape? Why would a school principal engage in rape? Why would a magistrate? And things like that. So. It is because for us, we're not promoting impunity. To avoid dealing with those issues and not emphasize prosecuting rape cases, promote impunity. And if anybody tries to compromise it, there's a law called hindering law enforcement. Anyone who tries to compromise it, himself or herself will be committing crime. Under our law, it's called hindering law enforcement. You are not free to just compromise a criminal case because crimes are committed against the state. The state is the plaintiff. So we will do so that we can undermine impunity and promote accountability continuously. In fact, during my time as Solicitor General, that the SGBV unit, prosecution unit was created, I recommended the creation of that unit in my 2007 report as Solicitor General. And the government put in the budget. I interviewed the first director and the lawyers that served there all before I left the Ministry of Justice. That was my making. That was part of my contribution as a transformer.
All right, it's 9:56 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. One of the pandemic that is being saturated in the country is these fake credentials, conferring doctorate degrees and all of that in government, private sectors. I'm not hearing anybody. They just sit somewhere, they have some sort of little press conference, lawmakers, they are not doing anything. And that's the troubling part, because these people we elected in, they go to Capitol, they should be able to, whether we voted for or against, Councilor, they should be there to represent Liberia. But more or less, they are politically driven, only for their institution, for which they don't have dialogue. And that's another pandemic in itself. People just, by the time you go look, they're in this place and nothing much is being done. If elected president, this sort of I don't know that they get somewhere like war, I don't call War Trade. I know War
World
Trade
Trade Center.
Trade Center.
War Trade Center. Well, I don't know War Trade Center. Then I even think then I don't call Fast Trade Building. So yeah, but on a serious note here,
World Trade Center is on Galley Street.
Galley Street, right? Galley Street there. But on a serious note, there's sort of these fake credentials, and for the most part, they go in government. So I don't know what is going on. Do you have answer for that?
Well, that's one of the background checks that the senators should do, especially for ministers and other commission officials of government, so they don't do their work properly. But I believe that that's something that the auditing commission can do, to do credential audit. They can do background. I would not appoint anyone whose background. It's easy to check on background now with the in the IT world. The whole world is on the computer. You can do background check on people. These are, I mean, the kind of information that universities are prepared to provide. If people say they've been managing director in Europe or America, anywhere, you can do that background check. People are just lazy, or some maybe know the truth, but they want to shield people and give them positions based on relationship, friendship, and all of that.
Okay.
But we want people serving government to be role models of the young people. So we'll make sure we put genuine people in government, people who have authentic background, things that represents what they put in a CV. We'll check behind it, because again, if you put people who are not prepared, they don't have the experience that is saying the CV in your government will underperform. It will affect the lives of the people. So that would be a major concern.
Okay. Well, but most all the candidates are hearing then they always say women will be involved, women will be involved. Let's talk here as a secret. Nobody is listening right now, Councilor. If you are
Is it what?
I say let's talk here. The camera is off right now. If you become a nominee, the vice president, man, woman, an idea. You're running mate.
I'm too experienced dealing with the media to be in trouble like that. I'm not going to let you know. Please, I'm not going to let you know. It has to remain a surprise to you. Even you, off the camera.
Meaning it's a female. Or when you want to make the announcement, will you come here? That's a fair.
I'm not going to also make that commitment. Before you say, oh, if I make the announcement, if I come here, maybe I'm in LIBERIA, and I make the announcement. Otherwise, you say,
I will fly there and come and honor that press conference. I will fly and come and honor that conference, Councilor. Well, I want to thank you so much, and to the support staff here. As a matter of fact, Dr. Kamara, Doe, and all of the folks. I don't usually give praises because all of them, they are politicians. They hang out with politicians. But their level of being spontaneous to communication, I mean, that is huge. Very seldom people do that. But I want to thank you so much for your time here this evening. We are here. Every time we have our own way, different way of doing things, and this is why we don't create drama. There's a need. All of these people are seeking for the higher office of the land. Camera needs to be on them. We need to have a dialogue with them, whether we agree or disagree, but it must be done in a civil context, and that's why Liberia Public Radio represents. What is your final word before we let you go?
Well, I mean, I just want to tell the Liberian people that this is a transformative leader. My track record is clear. I've been an advocate for good governance all my life, and that for me sets me apart from all candidates in this race, including the incumbent. I've been an advocate. I work in government. I have never kept silent on any major issue in Liberia, from Turbo to Dole to Taylor to Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, and even currently. So people know who I am. And I've been in government. My hand never entered the cookie jar. I do what I say and say what I do. So, for example, from 1847 to 2006, The prosecutors all over Liberia were non-lawyers. I professionalized prosecution by bringing only law school graduates to all of the 15 counties. It remained that way. I went to Ministry of Labor and produced the Decent Work Act that was started under Minister Kofi Woods. I completed and submitted to the President of Liberia. It became the first Decent Work Act labor law based on decent work standards in the world. And I increased the work permit fees from $400 to $1,000 in order to reduce the number of foreign employees in Liberia and provide opportunities for Liberians to get jobs. I'm a transformer everywhere I go. And so we will do that. You heard what I've said about expanding the economy, about creating an atmosphere for investment, for social economic activities in Liberia, just for protecting the Liberian people, combating corruption. If you like what I say, please, election is coming. Let us end the misery in Liberia today, because I strongly believe Liberia is currently in the ICU. And if we re-elect the CDC government, we will be committing a national suicide. Therefore, the solution is in our thumbprint. We have to put that ballot on election day. I call upon everyone to go for voter registration when voter registration is done, so they can vote right. And we want no confusion in Liberia. We don't want any conflict. We want Liberia to remain calm until election day next year. So I'm asking for everyone to give me all of the support, moral and financial, for me to make it. Because they say the men are poor men, lawyer, ain't get money, will not go anywhere. But the Bible says good name is better than silver and gold. I believe that. Thank you very much.
All right. We are here anytime if you want to have like a town hall. We can't just have people call in here. This is our first interaction. We must give you the opportunity to tell us who you are, what you represent. In the future, you want to have like a town hall where ordinary Liberians can participate. We can also do that. But we want to thank you for giving us the exclusive, Councillor. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right. All right, is right now the guy is off. Let's get an honest reaction here with our senior contributor. Even though he support the guy, but that's okay. Let's see, we're gonna be in the playbook. I see SK is laughing. It seems to me like his guy did what is anticipated, what is expected. But let me go to Minnesota, where Sissy is standing by. Look, let's put on the garments of Liberia for the good of the countries and undo politics, which of course is always the soundbite things that will always, that political affiliation, attachment will always be in here. But let me ask you here, you listen to the council here, was there any hair scratching thing here, and where do you think he fell below the line?
Where somebody calling me on my line, that's why. Okay,
yeah,
sorry.
I think I'm getting a call here. I don't know.
Oh, is that you? Okay, I thought that was me because I'm looking everywhere.
I don't know where I'm on air, and I'm going to put a number out here. We do it deliberately not to put a number out here. When there are certain things we can do. If you want to make it will be after just a few minutes. We're going to be here. I will put a number that you can call that number. Yeah, but
I'm looking everywhere. I'm like, wait, somebody's calling me on Facebook, and my phone is right in my hand. And that's
myself. That's the same way we're thinking. I don't know why.
But to answer your question, it's really it's difficult trying to thread the line that the council is trying to thread between being an aspirant and not yet the candidate of the party, and not even yet a candidate in the race, to be able to talk about intra-party issues and even talking about, that was a good question you asked about running mate, and about political collaboration, because in Liberia lately we know that no one party can win an election straight out, presidential election. There's been, second round, it's become a thing now. And so I think the councilor knows that it has to be some conversations about, attracting other people and other parties to come to him. in order to make sure that he can win. But it's really difficult to say stuff like that or even have those conversations because, you rightly said, he's not a candidate. He's not at the level of Alexander Cummings or Joseph Nyuma because those are candidates for their various parties already. He's just an aspirant waiting for, hopefully, the endorsement of his political party. So I saw him struggle with that, and I saw that it's really tight trying to walk that road. Being an institutional member, at that.
Let's bring in SK. SK.
Yeah, I told you.
I think your question itself went beyond party line, and this is what most people don't do. Everything they don't have the guts to even stand up to people that is supported to even ask them question here. But I think that question was seasoned, it was timely, and it is justifiable. How do you see your candidate?
Well, I thought he was brilliant tonight, and that's why we are supporting him because he's an honest person, and the reason some of us are supporting is just plain simple. Is a guy that you can walk to and talk to and have an honest conversation with. That's why I asked him that question. Usually, people get on here and they will be like, "Oh, that's my candidate. I'm not going to ask this question." But we are talking about Liberia. Liberia come first, and we believe that with him, with his track record of being honest, of just being in the public sector, in the private sector, and just advocacy and everything, making a good choice for some of us. That's why we are supporting him. He was brilliant tonight. Like the comrade in there said, he hasn't become a standard bearer yet, so it's a little bit tough for him to give you exactly what you want. But we are praying that hopefully by September, when his party goes for convention, the party will endorse his candidacy so we can jumpstart this thing. I'm really impressed since he's came to America.
Okay, let's get a first reaction here from some of our viewers and caller here. Let's go to Des Moines, Iowa. Maybe what U.S. election will say Des Moines is one of the deciding factors. Unfortunately, we can't count them in this Liberian politics. But let's go to 5515 number 4261. Good evening, caller. What's your name?
Barbara, I was watching your show. I am a supporter of Councillor Gongloe. I'm only calling to encourage family and friends to take a look at this man. He is very selfless. He's humble. He's very articulate. He understands and is very much aware of the issues in Liberia. He's not seeking wealth. In fact, I consider his candidacy as a self-sacrifice for the goodness of Liberia and Liberian people all over the world. I mean, I have not seen anybody being very emphatic and aware about things that are taking place. Corruption. He takes his own time and explain the issue. He's not a talkative person. So let people really, really pay attention. That a president in Liberia lasts for 6 good years. If we don't elect the right people, the country will continue to be going downward. That's all I wanted to say. I'm supporting him. I'm asking all my friends here in the United States and in Liberia to support Councillor Gongloe. He does not have the money to contest like the other big guys, but will do it from the grassroots and will get him out there. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Thank you so much. And as a matter of fact, I did interact with him when those Grenadians, because when they reached out and he said he was providing his services. But the challenge we have, okay, I'm getting the call here, but the call again. The challenge we have here at CC and SK here, the electorates that we are dealing with today, that is huge. That is challenge. And that was one of the questions I was putting out to here, quick fix. They want it today because poverty and because these politicians have been using financial violence. We talked about here the other day. How can the councillor navigate through this process here? And because they are not looking at what is ahead, they want immediate result. That is a challenge.
It's tough. It's going to be hard for him because he's a man of principle, right? He just stated here that he's not going to be exchanging bag of rice or money for votes. He's not going to buy votes. And we know in Liberia, Liberian politics and Liberian elections lately, it is almost being the case. It's almost like, there's a supermarket for votes. And if you give me money today that feeds me or takes care of my most basic needs, then I can take my child to the hospital, or you can give my child a scholarship to go to school, I would give you my vote. I would give you what the counselor actually refers to as a power of attorney. I'll give you a power of attorney for however long you stay in office. As a senator, I give you 9 years, and so on. And so, how do you re-educate our people? How do you disabuse them of their mindset that for a bag of rice today, I'm willing to give you power of attorney over me for the next 6 years? That is going to be tough. That is going to be hard. I mean, we got to face that, because to go to a Liberian person and say, vote for this man, see everything he has done, let's show you the old mat he set me on, I want to plant a new mat. They're going to say, yep, he did all that, yep, but empty bag cannot stand. And so, there has to be a lot of work from the LPP. There has to be a lot of work from Team Gongloes, every variations of them. There has to be a lot of work from us Liberians who live in the diaspora and can't vote. We have to call our people and educate them and let them know that sometimes a slow nickel is better than a quick dime. So sometimes
the number is also on WhatsApp. So anybody you want to call from Liberia, sorry to assist.
Right. So just taking into account and imagining, what will 6 years be like? What will because if you mortgage, if you give somebody authority to make decisions for you, which is what elections are, you vote for people and you say, I trust you, make decisions on my behalf for these 6 years or for these 9 years. We have to be able to conscientize our people, however hard it is, to let them know that a $50 today is not worth 6 years of your life and the 6 years of your children's life. We have to do that basic arithmetic. We have to do that basic math for our people. It is very difficult. It's going to be very difficult. It's not easy, because now in Liberia, the cash violence, as we talked about it last time, is the way of getting elected now. And how do you get somebody who has this much integrity and say, I'm not going to do that? How do you get that person elected? It's going to be hard in the Liberian politics.
Let's go to a 67763 number, I believe, from Minnesota here. Let's go to this number, and I'm going to come to you, SK. 763 number, are you there?
Yeah, that must be me.
Yeah. What's your name and where are you calling from? Please lower your monitor. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
My name is Dr. Sam. I am a supporter of the counselor. And, that's the message we have to tell our Liberian people. You can't keep doing the same thing and expect a different result. They're voting for cash or T-shirt or whatever you can eat today, just so you mortgage the next 6 years of your life to somebody else, has not worked so far. Nobody needs to convince the Liberian people that system is not working. Now, we all should be looking for something different and something new. And this is an opportunity for the Liberian people. Instead of taking what they can eat today and sacrifice the future, they can sacrifice missing that one bag of rice today, so that we can start to create a better future for themselves and for the future of their children and their grandchildren. So sacrifice will be made, right? So their choices are simple. Either you sacrifice the bag of rice today and start to work towards a better Liberia and a better future, or you take the bag of rice today and sacrifice the future for yourself and for your children.
Sell your soul, right? Okay.
So that's the option before the Liberian people. And I hope that those of us that support the counselor will try to make that simple message, to take it to them and try to explain it in a way they can understand. Because I know no rational person will choose one day or 1 week of fun to sacrifice for 6 years of misery.
Thank you so much.
But now the burden is on our court. The counselor is very clear on what he intends to do. He just needs us to support him, and I hope we can do that work for better Liberia. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. SK, let me bring you in here. What is the strategy here? The counselor seems, the folks around the counselor, it seems to be more available to the media. He on conferences, gathering. and stuff like that. That's huge. That's a massive preparation for presidential run. Unlike most of the other people, there's a corridor, there's a wall of Jericho built around it, selective where to go, where not to go. But you guys are putting him forward, becoming more visible. What is the strategy behind that?
I don't think we are putting him forward. That's just how he has been. I mean, if you know him, I've been someone that you can just go to and talk to. He's accessible. That's the kind of person he is. With him trying to run right now as president, I mean, he's available to anyone. And the strategy is to keep putting it out there because this guy have a unique story, all right? He's one of the few Liberians we can be proud of and boast of and say, yes, this is one of the best we got. So he's an easy sell. Like the brother told in the studio there said that it's going to be a tough battle, no doubt. I was in Liberia just 3 weeks ago. And what I saw there is some sort of hope for us because Liberians now are getting to know that, look, yeah, let it bring the money. We know they got the money. They are keeping the money for election, but let it bring the money. They will see who be who. I mean, that's a hope. So the more we put him out there, the more he's involved in explaining his policy for a better Liberia. We got hope. Now he's coming from America. One of the greatest achievements we got here is he just announced his ambition. He came to America and he has been received overwhelmingly. So that's a real good thing when someone says good name is better than bad name. So he's easy sell. Only thing we got to do is keep explaining his story, keep letting people know about him, because I think with him, a better Liberia is possible.
All right, better Liberia is possible. Let's go here. Liberian expressing their view, reactions after the interview of Councillor Tiawan Gongloe. Let's go to this number here, 240-0550. Good evening, caller. What's your name?
How you doing, man? My name is UK.
All right.
UK Tawe.
Okay, Tawe, hold on 1 second. Let me go to neighboring Massachusetts as well. Let's hear from you. I think you are calling from around the DC belt, right? You listen to the interview?
Yes, of course.
You listen to the interview?
Man, listen, this pronouncement by Tiawan, he's a good sell, to be very honest with you. This guy has been on the ground from day one. He has represented Liberians who could not represent themselves or didn't have money. The pro bono kind of service. This is somebody who has credibility. But this is my concern. To win election in Liberia, one person on the opposition cannot do it. One person cannot do it. So I am just left with the concern to actually figure out, is he, because I have learned that he was part of the CCP, the Coalition of Political Parties. Is he still?
No, that I don't know.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't.
His surrogate can confirm that.
Yeah, he wasn't.
No, he was not. He was not a member. The LPP was not a party to the.
Okay, great. That even strengthened my concern. One person cannot go as a single candidate to win election in Liberia now.
But also understand the CPP is an open confederation. What the CPP said, they already buried the submerged.
Okay, all right, but this is my concern, my man. This cannot just land. My issue is we cannot afford to miss out on this opportunity. Without doing exhibition here. When we go over to the election, we want to win the election. This is not a popularity contest here. So we need to make sure we take in all the screws, cross all the T's, dot all the I's.
So here's the concern here before I go to the next person. Why you want him doing, or why you want to see happening?
I want all the opposition to go in a coalition. They need to revisit the coalition. I want all the political parties to go in a coalition so that when they go to the election, it can just be a one-time thing.
So quickly here.
Issue of
Yeah, you quickly because we are running out of time. Going into coalition, knowing what we know, what we're seeing now, will it work?
Why not? We need to make it work. All of the surrogates now who you got as your guests, they need to be preaching out, preaching and mobilizing so that we can get together. We need to be together.
Mr. So, real quick to the caller.
All right, thank you.
Quick to the caller.
Let me go to this number here from Lawrence, Massachusetts. Cora, are you there?
I'm still here, sir.
Yeah, good evening. What's your name?
I'm Lawrence Blakey, and thank you for the opportunity.
Lawrence, go ahead.
Yeah. I appreciate the time that you have had Councilor talking to the Liberian people this evening. And I am a supporter of Councilor Gongloe, and I'm closely watching and absorbing all of what people are saying. Like the previous caller before me, the assertion that he was part of CPP. No, he had never joined CPP, and he didn't. He was sympathizing with CPP for it to work, but he did not join it full-fledged to say, "Oh, I'm a part of," because he's just an aspirant, like you guys have alluded to, and he told you earlier that he's not yet at that point. He had not been endorsed as a candidate for his party, so that is not a conversation. So that is not correct. But when you talk about the collaboration, yes, he has repeatedly said that he's open to having conversations, right? Liberia politics, as we all know it, there's no way one party would run away with this whole thing, or 52% going first round. So we are aware of that. Howbeit, you cannot go into election and all that you want is to go, okay, I will go talk to all of the people in the all other political parties so that once you receive an invite, you will be open to having conversation with people. So we are working. And one point I wanted to make was, I think somebody has mentioned that, Asese has mentioned that the electorates that we are dealing with is tough. I totally agree. But here it is now that we in the diaspora too, we will be evaluating these candidates, right? The likes of Comey, Joseph Boakai, and the rest, and George Williams.
Do you know Joseph Boakai number?
Do I know Joseph Boakai number?
Yeah. I want to give him the opportunity. I've called George Lobo, the family, and all of those people. They can't. Maybe I gotta be doing the time crier work now to get Ambassador Boakai's number to have the opportunity to talk to him as well.
Right. So there you have it. So the Unity Party people feel that they are entitled for any collaboration they form. They said they have drawn a line that Joseph Boakai will have to be the candidate for that.
All right, my man. Time is. Thank you so much. Let me go back to my guys.
We appreciate the time, and we will do the work we can. And we are out there talking about this, man. This is an opportunity for us, and we look forward to having an engagement. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, guys. There was a question knowing who he is and what he's been preaching, accountability, which have a correlation with transparency. But when we ask the question, will you announce whatever little catch that you're going to raise here? They were like, I would say A, but when I get back to my people, it will raise here. Why you can't tell us here and before you got to get back?
Well, there are several reasons for that, though. That's why he said he will announce this to his campaign manager, and the campaign manager will release that. And the reason for that is there are many different organizations that are hosting him and raising money. It's not just one organization. So, for example, the fundraiser that was done in Minnesota was done by Team Gongloe Minnesota, which is a standalone independent entity. And so they have their financial report, have to submit that to the councilor. And then you have a group in Atlanta, the Team Gongloe, a diaspora. And then you got Friends of Gongloe.
These proliferations, why they can't condense together? This is how far.
Well, no, but here's what it is. There are sometimes it's okay to decentralize so you can have focus. Like Minnesota focuses on Minnesota. right? And you have focus instead of being this huge mammoth organization that you just way too big and you cannot get into the people say nitty gritty, right? Get into everybody in there. And so I think that, but he was saying that because all of these groups have to make their reports, and then he has a compiled report. So there's no way he can make an announcement without seeing all of those groups' reports. And I think that's what he was alluding to.
Okay, let me get the inner part here. Maybe SK will ask, explain here. One I didn't asking here because there has been this sort of question people tweeting, let he go number 2 to Joseph Boyka or whatever it is. He's seeking for the higher office. Is there any backup plan, perhaps, that he has talked in his inner cycle of possibility being a number 2 person and within the opposition column? Anything like that you have ever heard, SK?
No, I haven't heard anything like that. But remember now, Councillor Gongloe is running for president. He's not running to be vice president. And even with regards to collaboration, he has clearly stated that he just an aspiring. Institution matters. LPP as an institution is going for convention. Once the convention is over, and
does he have the political will, the charisma to solidify the progressive wing? The progressive wing is sort of a volatile. You have a group of people. They are Larry Toba, Chris Dubenyan, they have this ND, blah, 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 and all of those kind of things. Does he have the political charisma to solidify, to get these guys over? Larry Toba almost like maybe leaning towards Joseph Boyka now. I mean, there are a lot of things out there he been saying. Can he twist the minds of these progressive?
I think he can. I'm sure he can do that. And they have been having a lot of discussions, and we'll see how it goes. But the progressive have no qualms with Councillor Gongloe. I mean, I'm telling you, he's caught a line. He caught across everybody, and he goes in there.
Yeah, so say before we go, the progressive is divided. You have a group here in New Jersey, you have another group on this other side there, Atlanta. Come on, the whole world is in a political mess. So we don't know what's going to happen. Is he doing his groundwork to?
I would say wait for LPP convention.
Well, I think the good thing that works for a councillor is that, like you said, Mr. So, the progressives it's open field. They're all scattered, so they're waiting for that one gatherer. That one gatherer will come and put them together. And I think Tiawan Gongloe has the institution.
Want to be a political commodity?
Well, not a commodity, but they gather out of the broken pieces all of the broken pieces of the progressives, and out of the broken pieces one of these splinter collaborations, because Tiawan Gongloe has the lived institutional experience, right? Mind you, this is a guy who became a lawyer in the 1980s, went to jail, had left Liberia because Cllr tried to kill him, worked for IGNO when interim government was the base of the progressive. So I think Tiawan Gongloe, like my brother said, cuts across all lines. And I think if there's anybody that can gather all of these broken pieces of progressives and bring them back together under one umbrella, I think it's Tiawan Gongloe, because he's lived that, he's an institutional guy, and he's an integrity guy. So I think a lot of people will coalesce around him. But the one quick thing I want to say here is that quite too often you will find this conversation where people say, well, can Tiawan be vice president? Whoever comes out and say, I'm declaring my run for the vice presidency.
This is why the Unity Party people are trying to drink Costa soda with this whole Alexander Comey. He don't want to be a vice president. He's supposed to say he want to be as for that. And one of the person that is pushing that sort of soundbite here is the liberal progressive on this side. I don't know which way. One day he comes to talk about Boyka. The another day he comes to talk about Gongloe as a progressive. Another time he talk. So he's just all over the place here. Sooner or later you will see him. And the people are kind of like going crazy with this whole thing here. That's a piece of cloth between the Caesar with the councillor. And SK.
Like I told you, man, just after LPP convention, you will see rallying around the flag.
Is there nervousness with this whole LPP convention with the fate of the councillor?
Well, because like the councillor said, he's an institutional man. He belongs to the institution. He has never left LPP, and he's not an aspirant, and we are hoping that the party endorses him. I mean,
I am getting tests. I'm getting some messages now. The progressives are going nuts. And that was the basis of that man question. They are going crazy. They are going crazy. Anyway, it will always be there. Politics is so much interesting. They are going crazy. They didn't get a consultation. The conversation was still in the making, and this announcement came boom. But sometimes you got to get ahead of your shadow. Yeah. Gentlemen, how long is the councillor here for? SK.
Well, he's wrapping up right now. He's wrapping up right now. So any of this money will be out here.
Your whole supporting. Will you guys be a US base, or will you put boots on the ground, including your own boot will be on the ground to do this fight for the councillor?
Personally, I'm going to be on the ground. So I have my place, I have properties out there. I'm going to be foot to foot doing the work. I'm just waiting for the convention and stuff, but some people, like the organization, their organization is going to be out here supporting.
Okay, let me put this number there just for the sake. This caller, please, if you want to, we are wrapping up. If you want to call this number that is out there. All the other number, we can't route things here too.
People see you on Facebook Live and still call you on Messenger.
Oh, no.
Watching, but you know, it is where it is. Please just call the number there. Let me put that number there for you. I'm going to give you 1 or 2 minutes. If you want to make your point, and there's a reason why we were not taking the course when the councillor was on. I mean, we do it here differently. There will be a time, perhaps we'll say, you know, to interact. That would be a time or whatever arrangement if that time is to come. But if you want to make your point quickly, call this number here, 682-433-8802. If you on WhatsApp is available, or you call regular number. Okay, well, gentlemen, who wants to be the instructor here to give a great point to the councillor? You have our mathematician here. You want to give a great...
Mr. Su is trying to get me in trouble here. But you know, I as a teacher, because that's my daytime job, I'm a teacher. I don't give A pluses because then that means you are perfect, and there's not a thing as perfection, at least in my class. I can always push you harder. So I would hesitate to say the counselor is perfect, because again, he's new to this game, and he's learning. But for somebody who is new to the game, I would say this was an A level.
This game? Which game?
The presidency, running for the presidency, running at this high level.
Yeah, this level.
You guys are keeping the bar low.
No, we're not keeping the bar low. I'm saying, given all of that, it's still an A. I'm just saying that, you know, yes, might there be maybe, you know, for example, you know, the Zoom screen in the background. Do we have to work on that to make sure it's not interfering with him? You know, all of those things we have to work on. That's my one takeaway as one of his surrogates, that I'm going to see how we can work on that, because, you know, people were texting me, emailing me that was kind of, you know, interfering with this message, because in political speech, you also look at the body language, and if the body language is being concealed by the Zoom background. So that's the reason I said that, because any other candidate who have been in this thing forever would have had people already deal with that, right? So this is one to take away. But I would say on the issues and on the substance, this was an A conversation, an A level conversation.
Who am I to question such a girl from the professor himself? So SK, is there any other letter beside A you want to punch in?
I agree with this.
I try to put my life on the line. I said the councillor, but the councillor, he pleaded failure or some kind of question here, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. When you asked about his vice presidential candidate, whether it be a woman or not,
no,
but I think it was smart, man. You put it in the box like that.
He said, "No, this guy want to put a coil around my neck here," but nothing is off the table. So, but we're hearing a lot of conversations, discussion taking place. Well, gentlemen, I want to thank you so much. Sese, as usual, we're tapping into your expertise, and SK for coming forward from the Gongloe side. We are here. We are in Liberia. Let us know anytime. We need to have this sort of conversation. I think it's good, it's engaging, and people see the other side, because we got to see the start of it, to govern and to be a representation of a proposing Those are two. I don't know whether those two commensurate with one another, and that's why we are trying to find out. I want to thank you so much for your time this evening, and it was a wonderful conversation, as I said, and to the team. We're looking forward. If he wants to do any town hall engagement, it doesn't. He don't have to be here necessarily. He can be in LIBERIA. We can do it. But I want to thank you.
And I think that would be beneficial though. If you can do a town hall where your people, where you know,
and for us here, we try to do it different. These are very serious issues, and because of other folks, they are so politically driven. They don't listen to the substance. They don't listen to the issue, and they range the tag and they say this and they vote people out. Listen first. You can refuse a call, or what contains in the call. That should be what you refuse. So for us, we want to have this conversation about the presidency of Liberia. Oh Lord, yeah, there are always lawbreakers in every society. If I do it, I pick the one. Now you say the man pick my call. Okay, 612 number. We are almost out of time. Go ahead now. 157. What's your name? 612. Are you there?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. What's your name and where you calling from? What's your point? We are running out of time.
Yeah, my name is
you lower your monitor, yeah.
My name is Sam Martinberg. Yeah, but I just want to interject something that you people did not ask Mr. Gongloe.
Interject quick.
How you guys did not ask him how is he going to decentralize the governance process in Liberia?
So how you know that we didn't ask that question?
Because I monitor your show.
So are you sure?
I monitor your show through up to now. I still monitoring the show.
Are you sure that decentralizing government was
Mr. So asked about
I did not hear that at all because
you remember the ministry, how the ministry
on the show. I did not get that.
Well, maybe
because I wanted him to come on how the governance process would have been decentralized in Liberia, and the body politics of Liberia, more especially for now, when it comes to politics, is among the young people.
Okay, all right.
And so, if he's going to become president, how is he going to decentralize the governance process based on the fact that superintendent supposed to be elected and not appointed? These are things that we really wanted to understand. How the people are going to benefit from their own resources. All these things, these are things that we need to ask Mr. Gongloe.
Okay, yeah, no, that's
a genuine question.
We didn't go into that. More or less, what he was talking about, how to open the system up, but that's a good system where the municipal area will be able to gain their status, mayors as it used to be, to elect people. You have a valid point. Your credit score is being restored as of tonight.
We're in school now, eh?
Yeah. Go tomorrow after the phone. Go tomorrow. You're gonna get a brand new car, my man. They're not gonna ask you for your credit.
but the crux of that conversation.
Thank you, buddy. Have a nice day.
Yeah.
The crux of that conversation centers around the superintendency. And in the Liberian Constitution does not call for election of superintendents. So that becomes where we have to have an amendment to the
a referendum.
A referendum on that. Yeah. But for mayor, absolutely. But the superintendency is an appointed position by the Liberian Constitution.
Yeah. Okay, gentlemen, we intend not to relegate this conversation. I want to thank you guys for your expertise, and we're looking for SK, anytime at your will and pleasures, let us know. You can join us, and we can have these things here. We can have this conversation. Thank you so much, gentlemen, and have a pleasant.
Thank you for having me. Happy to have proof.
Okay, same to you, buddy. All right. Thank you so much. Well, folks, that's how we're going to leave it here this evening. I'm Afonso Ziansot of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. We want to thank you for your participations, your questions, your tweets, your suggestions. That's what we do. We don't keep door closed here. Even if it is against us, not necessarily against us. If you differ with us in views and opinion, that's okay. That's the conversation we want to be keeping here. We hope other candidates will make wise of having these sort of conversations. For those of you here in the U.S., happy 4th. I'm hearing the fireworks ongoing. maybe champagne is blowing. Until then, have a pleasant evening.
The councillor is married with 3 children.
Okay, this is how we want to send the councillor home this evening, right here on LPR.
Area from Grand Chile Kante, Lofa Kante, Papolu, Magibi, and all other counties within Liberia. This is a poor man lawyer. He's down to earth. Councillor Tiawan Saye Gongloe. He is here to help us. He loves human beings.
Demo councillor Tiawan Gongloe, Aramoge blessing you, Obrobi, Kadiaro Gebe Bochenge, Tuyaro on in you blow, Tuyaro in you practice. So Labirano, I'm on Tile again, Boquin, we are going to get councillor S.
The politician and smile, everybody making song. There's a way to evoke and bring the people there. And you remember 2017, Country Giant coming, gave way. Oh my goodness.
Need you money, you can need you money, you. Hanadio. Councillor Ed Rock on Adida. India, a blessing at the Labirano. Hanadi. A blessing for Jano. Yoga blow, Yaga, Jano. Yoga blow, moon, and Jano. Please hold the papa. Councillor Ed Rock on Hanadio.
For appearing right here on the Liberia Popular, we're looking for having him at some point in time in the future. What I forgot, I didn't ask him whether maybe my honor broom is much longer than his honor broom, and this one can sweep good. So maybe, let me do it this way here. Maybe I will see it good. Okay, you see this? That broom is much longer. I will ask him to lead a shorter one so that he can carry the bigger one. In fact, that one he's been using it from Liberia. He swept 2-3 places in Liberia. And it came with which airline, I don't know. So it's contaminated already. He needs to carry a much longer one to pick up all of the dates in the country. I am Alfonso Zayansot of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. We in the media will let it be illustrative. Visual also counts into this business. No similarity, no duplication. I want to thank you so much for your time. Happy 4th. By God's power, we'll be back here again. More programming right here on the Diaspora Informative News Outlet, Liberia Public Radio. Thank you so much and have a pleasant evening. Bye-bye.